So good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on our second edition of the Barclays Black Founder Accelerator Demo Day. And I'm really pleased that you've been able to join us. My name again is Elizabeth Akosia-Buedi. Please call me Liz. I work for Barclays as an ecosystem manager for Crankford Eagle Lab. And I'm also the program manager for the Barclays Black Founder Accelerator. And I'm really pleased that you've been able to join us today on our second demo day of the Black Founder Accelerator. I'm one of your hosts for today, and my co-host is Indy, who is the head of programs for Foundervine. And I'll let Indy introduce herself and say a few words. Indy?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for a lovely introduction, Liz. My name is Indy Gordon, and I'm head of programs here at Foundervine. I want to start off by saying that Foundervine is a young company. So we know all too well the journey our phenomenal participants have been on, and we're excited to be able to share this experience with you all. So Foundervine is a training consultancy that works to empower all current and future leaders, creatives, and innovators. We want to empower these people to be able to start, develop, and scale the businesses of today, but also the ones of tomorrow. So there are loads of things that are happening. We serve those who do not have access to the necessary tools and resources to be able to thrive in what they're doing. And because of the amazing support and partnership we've had with phenomenal companies like Barclays, Foundervine have now been able to expand into West Africa, where we get to empower a new set of leaders, but from a younger age group. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about our partnership because our next speaker is going to do that in more detail. But I just wanted to share the Foundervine Barclays partnership started such a long time ago. But our first program kicked off in 2020, where we were able to take a phenomenal cohort of 25 participants on a phenomenal journey where they could expect rapid growth through loads of opportunities like mentoring and coaching. And because of the success of that, we got to come back again. And some of that success looks like investment opportunities, national and international press coverage. We even have an alum that is currently featured on The Apprentice. So that is why we came back for year 2, because it was such a successful program and we were able to really empower some phenomenal founders. And so this year we came back with 40 participants. And I'm so excited that you all get to bear witness and see all the things they have been achieving. But again, I will leave that to our next speaker. So for today, you're going to hear from our phenomenal colleagues at Barclays. You will also have the opportunity to be supported by my team, who are hosting this event today, and you will hear from our phenomenal keynote speaker, Ezechi Britton, MBE. We will also have some phenomenal member moments where we get to showcase some of the experiences our founders have been through. And I would like to add that this has been captured and interviewed by one of our very own cohort members, James, from James. And so this is an exciting opportunity for us all to be able to see what our participants have been doing. We will then launch our showcase with our demos. There will be a break for you all to stretch your legs, but we should be wrapping up around 2 p.m. So without further ado, to kick off this event, I would like to introduce you to Natalie Oljeba, MBE, also Program Manager at Barclays Eagle Lab.
Thank you so much, Indy. And honestly, what a pleasure it is and humbling to be here to showcase the last 12 weeks we've had on this amazing program. So like Indy mentioned, my name is Natalie Oljeba, and I honestly do have the best job in the world at leading our Black Founders Accelerator and Eagle Labs, as well as looking at how else we can be supporting and enhancing opportunities for underrepresented groups. Now, the Black Founders Accelerator is one of our many offerings at Barclays Eagle Labs. So for those who may not know about Barclays Eagle Labs, we're a proposition at Barclays, and essentially we're here to support the UK entrepreneurs ecosystem. We have a national network of 28 labs across the UK. We incubate, inspire, and educate ambitious UK founders and startups to help them to scale and succeed. We offer co-working spaces, opportunities for mentoring and learning tools, access to cutting-edge tech, to build prototypes, to programs like this for ambitious entrepreneurs and businesses. We've seen over 6,400 startups in our Eagle Labs community, and our members have raised over 1.75 billion to date, which is absolutely impressive. But today I'm here to celebrate my baby, essentially. We've been on a phenomenal journey with Foundervine. Like Indy mentioned, we launched the program in 2020 on the recognition that we could do more as an organization to support Black-led businesses. We started in October last 2020, Black History Month. Like Indy said, with 25 innovative Black-led businesses, and saw just over 200 applications for our first program. Now, if we look at this year, we've completely scaled up our support. So now we are looking at supporting 40 amazing businesses that you will hear and see today. We saw over 350 applications, further justifying why we need to be creating safe spaces for Black-led businesses and giving them the resources to scale and succeed, if I could speak today. We also wanted to ensure that everyone was supported that applied for the program. So again, 350 Black-led businesses being supported by ecosystem managers in Barclays Eagle Labs, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. But if I focus on the actual program, and I think if you ask any of our founders, it has been intense. In the last 12 weeks, we've held over 38.5 hours worth of masterclasses, all on a Thursday, which explains for these beautiful bags that I'm hiding up tonight. Not to mention the hours that have been dedicated to one-to-one mentoring from our Barclays colleagues across the bank, as well as Foundervine's fellow Vine community. But seeing the way these businesses have engaged on every single masterclass, networked and connected with their peers, and taken every opportunity possible, even when it was approaching 10 p.m. at night, it's just made me more proud to essentially set up this program and be able to facilitate these businesses' journeys and groups. So with that, I think, you know, it's not about me, it's not about Barclays Eagle Labs or Foundervine, it's about these amazing businesses that have gone through this journey. So before we kick off, I do want to pass over to my colleague, Azira Mason. So Azira is the Global Head of Race at Work. Race at Work is an initiative within Barclays to focus on how we can change the statistical dial for Black and multiracial individuals in the UK and US. So with that, I would love to hear from Azira, please.
Hi, I'm Azira Mason. I'm the Global Head of Race at Work. Welcome to you guys today. I'm so excited for you all and demoing all of your wonderful ideas and exciting opportunities here today. I'll give a little bit of intro about what I do. So the Global Head of Race at Work is a role that was newly created by the bank a few years ago. And what we were seeking to do, and Barclays was seeking to do, was to think about how do we ensure racial equity within the walls of Barclays. And then over a little bit of time, we began to think about, well, it's just as important about Barclays' role about ensuring racial equity outside of the workplace. And that's where I think wonderful activities like the Accelerator program come into play. We're excited to think about economic mobility in Black community and creating economic parity and reducing the racial wealth gap. In the past, we've made commitments internally to Barclays to double the number of spend with Black suppliers internally in the way we spend our money within Barclays. But another commitment for me, and we'll seek to expand that, is ensuring that there's equity for Black founders and supporting Black businesses and Black founded businesses in a way that is really supportive and not just about financial commitment, but giving tools and resources and time and talent to this endeavor. And I think you guys are a wonderful representative of that work and the work we'll continue to do. I wish you all well today. I hope that you will understand Barclays' commitment to this work and how important it is to me personally, but also to the bank and to Natalie for planning such a wonderful day.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Azira, for sharing what the Barclays wider commitment is to enhancing Black entrepreneurs. I think you put it most beautifully. But with that, I am super excited to get the event rolling. So you guys can see the amazing journeys our 16 founders have gone on over the last 12 weeks. So with that, I'm going to pass you over to one of our program managers, Jennifer. And Jennifer will be talking through the judges and also introducing our keynote speaker.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Nat. Thank you everyone for joining. It's so great to see so many faces. I just want to introduce some of the phenomenal judges that we have over here for today. So my name is Jennifer, as Nat said, and I'm part of the Foundervine team. And we are joined today by 3 phenomenal judges. I won't steal too much of their thunder, so I'll start with you, Nick, if you could please introduce yourself.
Okay, hi, I'm Nick Jenkins, founder of Moonpig and former dragon on Dragon's Den, and so I've invested in about 30 businesses and looked at hundreds more over the last years. It's a real privilege to be a part of this event. I look forward to it.
Thank you so much, Nick. Can I start with you next, Barbara?
Hi everyone, my name is Barbara Notum. I'm the head of products and operations at Market Mortgage. Market Mortgage is a B2B fintech startup that works with retail lenders and investors to provide more high LTV mortgages to the market. And the whole point is trying to get more people onto the property ladder by giving them the opportunity to buy a home with a low deposit. So that's what I do full time. And I also am a non-executive director at Foundervine. And I've been part of Foundervine since 2018. So yes, lovely to meet you all. And I'm looking forward to the day.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Barbara. And lastly, can I please have Winnie come and introduce herself?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me today. It's such a great pleasure and an honor to be a part of the event. I'm Winnie Anand Fortin. I'm a Vice President looking after diversity and inclusion for UK, Europe and Middle East here at Barclays. As someone who is of Ghanaian origin and born and raised in Ghana, Ghana is actually, for those who don't know, one of the biggest entrepreneurial hubs for especially female founders, but obviously Black female founders across the world. So we are the 3rd largest. And as someone who has grown up around some phenomenal Black founders, female founders, it's just such an honor as part of the work I do to be a part of this event and just see some of the amazing work that Foundervine and our team here at Barclays with Eagle Labs has been doing with our founders, and just to celebrate all of the effort that's gone into all of your businesses over the last few weeks and months. So thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to hear about all of the great businesses we're showcasing.
Fantastic. Thank you so much to all of our judges. Really looking forward to you grilling our participants today. Now, if we can please have Ezechi Britton, MBE, deliver his keynote address.
So can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic, fantastic. So look, good morning. It's a real pleasure to be here giving this virtual keynote today. Firstly, I'd like to say a big thank you to Foundervine and to Barclays for having me back to give a second keynote. The second thing I want to say is good luck to all the founders who will be pitching today. Remember one thing, you deserve to be here. And to those in the audience, please listen, learn, and be supportive. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ezechi Britton, or Ez, as most people call me. I'm a founding member, principal investor, and CTO for ImpactX Capital, a VC fund that invests in diverse and underrepresented founders. I'm also the founder of Code Untapped, the digital skills accelerator. So, what am I here to talk about today? Well, I like to tell stories, but this story starts with some stats. I find they help to paint a picture in ways that words just don't do justice. So let's start with 74. 74 billion, that's how much it was calculated the BAME businesses, and yes, I hate to use that term, contribute to the UK economy every year, businesses such as yours. 1. That's the number of Black founders that appeared on the top 100 list of BAME businesses in the UK. And that person happened to be Ishmael Ahmed, founder of World Remit, the UK's first Black unicorn. 96. That's the percentage of all white male founding teams that received Series A or above funding in the UK between 2009 and 2019, so over a 10-year period. 0.24, that's the percentage of Black founders that received funding during that same time. 38, the number of businesses that actually translates to. 0.02, the percentage of Black female founders that have received VC funding in the UK over those same 10 years. 1, the number of businesses that translates to. 0, yep, 0. The number of Black-led funds have successfully raised a significant amount of LP capital in the UK. And yes, that includes ImpactX. Whilst we have invested in over 10 startups so far, even we have struggled to raise from the large institutions. So why am I telling you all this? I'm sure right now there are people in the audience listening to me and saying, Ez, you're supposed to be inspiring these founders, not scaring them off. Well, look, to me, knowledge is power. It's critical to the success of this cohort that you have this reality check, that you understand the landscape, that you understand the rules of the game, not so that you can quit the field, but so that you can plan your next moves. Because look, let's not get this twisted. The landscape is changing. I gave you some stats earlier, but here are some more facts. In the last year, we saw 2 Black-run unicorns come out of the UK. I mentioned Ishmael Ahmed, founder of World Remit, now known as Zeps. Well, he raised 292 million at a $5 billion valuation. We saw Oliver and Alex Kent Braham from Marshmallow. They raised over 40 million at a $1 billion valuation. And by the way, Marshmallow are in the ImpactX portfolio. Wilfred Obeng, who's one of my mentees, and Christian Facey from AudioMob raised 14 million at 110 million valuation. Mariam Jimo's Oja raised 3.4 million. Rachel Corson and Jocelyn Mate, again in our portfolio, founders of Afrocentrics, raised over $1 million. Lotana Ezechi, founder of XPO app, raised over $1 million from Blue Wire Capital. And if we look abroad, we see even more activity. Abby Wemimo's Isuzu in the US raised over 130 million at a $1 billion valuation. We saw a 4x increase in funding to Black founders in the US last year. In Africa, we've seen incredible progress with the founders of Flutterwave raising 250 million at a $3 billion valuation. But it doesn't stop there. The funding landscape is also changing. In the US, I know of at least 6 funds with Black fund managers, Base 10 Partners, Material Impact Fund, Reach Capital, Harlem Capital, Black VC, Rare Breed Ventures, many of which have raised over $100 million. And in the UK, we're seeing real progress. I expect to see ImpactX, 10x10, Cornerstone, Black Seed, all close significant amounts this year. So the landscape isn't just changing, it's transforming, and you're all perfectly positioned to take advantage of that transformation. So I don't tell you these things to scare you. I tell you this stuff to make you angry, to fire you up, to arm you, to give you the tools you need to maneuver effectively. So what comes next? What should you be focusing on? Focus on building traction, expand your networks, drive sales, get to know the right investors. Investors like ImpactX. We provide funding, advice, network. We've backed over 8 Black-led startups already, with 1 unicorn already in our portfolio. And we're planning to invest in 10 more startups a year for the next 5 years. So how can you take control of the narrative? I like to say that familiarity breeds truth. Historically, investors haven't been used to seeing Black founders, let alone see them become successful. There's this belief that there isn't the talent, there isn't the pipeline. Well, I can tell you that in our pipeline alone, we have over 1,600 diverse startups with an aggregate demand of over £1.5 billion. I can tell you now, there is no shortage of great Black founders. So investors are now starting to see these incredible Black founders not just achieve, but smash it out of the park. That familiarity is changing the narrative. It's creating a new reality in their minds that reflect our truth. The truth that if we are given a fair chance, not only can we be successful, but we can dominate the playing field. So why did I tell you all this? In this room alone, there are 16 great founders pitching and demoing, 40 founders in the cohorts, and there are investors out there watching. I want you out there flooding them with your ideas, your power, your presence to continue to change their truth, to become their narrative. And let's change those stats so that the next time I give this keynote, and hopefully there'll be a third time, it will be your successes that I'll be talking about. Thank you for the incredible work that you're doing, and good luck today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ezechi. Thank you so much. So we are now basically moving into the introduction of our cohort. So I'm Shakira Akinwale. I'm from Foundervine. I'm one of the program managers, and I've had the pleasure of basically just working with and being part of this community with the cohort for like the past 3 months. As you've heard, we had 40 people within there, and I mean, if we had more time, we would have ideally liked to see all of them pitch. Fortunately, unfortunately, due to the time that we do have, we've basically shortlisted 16 of those wonderful cohort members to pitch for you today, which we're very much excited to see. Just to share screen again so that you can have a look. So even though you won't hear from every single one of our founders, it's definitely worth sort of shouting out a few of the sort of top guys. So James, as you've mentioned, he's put together some of the member moments that we've had. He's been one of our MVPs sort of throughout the whole process. We've had Arthur, who's from H&A Luxury, one of the housing businesses. And again, just in terms of like the camaraderie and the support and just the community, just feeling and sentiment within them, it's been wonderful to see and witness that growth. So without further ado as well, what we will do is go through and just explain some of the process. So what we've done this year is just to give the participants and audience a bit more involvement, is after the pitches, we'll basically launch a poll. So you'll be able to basically just vote and just basically just give a score for each of the pitches. You can sort of wait until the judges do the Q&A so you can get a bit more of the questions perhaps that you might have wanted to ask them answered before you judge them or give them a score. But just to let you know that that will happen. And the poll itself will be just on screen for about 30 seconds. So please do make sure that you vote. Just going ahead, I'm going to play one of our member moments.
I've learned quite a lot, and I've been, my business, and I can see this, there's significant growth in my business as a result of being on the program, and I can't recommend the program enough. I just can't. The program is going to come to an end very shortly, but I wish the program can actually kind of carry you on, so you're not used to it and you become part of it, and you're like, this is just so good. And imagine we're not paying for it, even though, of course, it's costing someone, but we're not paying for it. What a great opportunity. I must tell you this, I've been in a program before where you have to pay like literally a minimum £5,000 to be on it, and you feel, what do you get from there? But on this program, I feel an underrepresented founder, a black founder, an ethnic minority founder. You don't want to waste another day not applying for the next. I've learned quite a lot, and I've been, my business, and I can see this, there's significant growth in my business as a result of being on the program, and I can't recommend the program enough.
So as for our wonderful Abby, who is pitching today, we have two more of those member moments, again, wonderfully filmed by James. Just to go forward again, the participants that we do have pitching today are the wonderful following 16, called the successful 16, although all of them are actually all successful. So we have Holland Pay, MPH, Black Eats London, List Me, Kasai, Linuity, Optimus Health, Full Spectrum, Quivo, Interstem, Babu, Fantagios, Bomadu, Afro-Caribbean Weddings, Educate UK, and AfroClick.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Shax. Thank you. And I am sure you are all ready and excited. Our judges are ready and waiting as well. So we're going to go straight into the showcasing today. The first business we're going to hear from is Fantagios. So Fantagios is the world's first fan sharing tool for musicians and content creators. They have a platform that allows users to leverage the audience they already have in order to gain more fans and exposure. So let's hear from Rem, founder of Fantagios. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name's Rem and I'm the CEO and founder of Fantagios. Fantagios is a powerful new tool that aims to revolutionize talent marketing and discovery on a global scale. Once upon a time, the internet was a creator's playground, a place where a nobody could become a somebody just by sharing their gifts with the world. Whilst TV was reserved for big brands and A-list celebrities. But today things are very different and almost the complete opposite, with big companies making social media a large focus of their marketing strategies. And since social media platforms have begun selling adverts, it has started a war for user attention that has done nothing but intensified. As a result, social platforms are favoring more viral and established content to keep more users scrolling on their apps, which in turn allows them to sell more ads and make more money. This is effectively silencing the large majority of creators who are trying to organically grow their audience and make a name for themselves. Fantagios allows all types of creators to get fans, get paid, and get noticed all under the same roof. Our aim is to level out the playing field for the underdogs who make up the large majority of creatives. So how does it all work? Well, imagine you're an R&B singer with 5,000 fans across your social media. Fantagios will allow you to connect with thousands of other R&B singers around the world who also have around 5,000 fans. Once connected, you can engage in mutual shoutouts, mutual follows, collaborations, and so much more. This is hyper-relevant marketing that gives users the power to leverage the audience they already have in order to gain more fans and exposure. And as you grow, you will connect with other higher-ranking users, making each interaction on Fantagios more valuable than the last. On top of this, brands, record labels, and talent agencies can use Fantagios as a scouting tool to discover new talent by looking at rates of growth and levels of social influence. So if a beauty brand needs 20 beauty influencers with over 50,000 followers for a new campaign, they can use Fantagios. Or if a record label wants to find the fastest growing rapper in a particular region of a particular country, it's literally a few taps away. Fantagios was founded back in 2018 by myself. My experience ranges from senior sales and investment broker to design, marketing, and advertising roles. Our COO, Carl, comes from a business development and marketing background and has worked on influencer campaigns with the likes of Nike, Taco Bell, MTV, and loads more. A few months after, Jamal joined our team as our CMO. He has extensive programmatic marketing experience, having handled large campaigns for the likes of Gucci, Calvin Klein, Hugo Boss, and so many more. And last but not least, we added Christian as our CFO. He boasts 7 years of finance experience with 6 years in private equity with an $8 billion market cap. Fantagios plans to generate revenue by offering premium subscriptions to both creators and talent scouts. We believe that Fantagios is the last piece of the puzzle that will allow creative people to truly fend for themselves and directly influence the growth of their fan base without financial backing or industry support. We have so many incredible ideas for the future, and this is barely the tip of the iceberg. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this introduction to Fantagios. Hello, everyone.
Thank you very much. That's great. Thank you, Rem. So now we would invite our judges to ask any questions if they have any contributions or questions for Rem. Judges, over to you.
Nick, as well go first.
I want to ask, how many of the other platforms that exist? I like the idea that you're getting creators to join forces to share their fan bases. Is that something that some of the other platforms offer?
No. As far as we're aware, there's not another platform that does anything close to what we're doing at the moment. So we have our own algorithm, which basically detects levels of social influence amongst the users that sign up. And as far as we know, nobody else is doing anything of the sort.
Yeah, great.
So thanks for the presentation, Rem. It was really engaging. I was going to ask you about the numbers, but I see that you put them in there at the end. What I would be interested in is the rate of growth. So you said you have, I think, 150,000 people already on the platform. Where are you looking to go to, let's say, in the next year or so in terms of growth?
So the users are not actually on the platform yet. So what we've done is so on Facebook, they have loads of these groups, which essentially do what the platform does, but in a very kind of clunky, not very streamlined way. So we've got one of those groups to ourselves, which has 130,000 users in it. It grows about 1,500 users per month. So these are like pre-approved influencers, basically, that have joined up. The platform is in its final stage of development. So we're waiting on delivery, hopefully in the next week, 2 weeks. But it's getting wrapped up, basically. So the plan would be to migrate the users from the Facebook group into the platform. And we've also got, so the idea, if we can raise a bit of money, we'd probably buy a few more of these groups from Facebook and then just try and migrate everybody over into one place, basically.
Wonderful, thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much, Rem. And I loved your last point there, because that was going to be my line of questioning. And you talked about that in your introduction, where you framed, how much noise there is around paid ads, etc., and reaching audiences. I'd love to hear your thinking around how you position yourself as a leader in this space in a world where people could just reach out to talent on social media or identify them on YouTube, for example. How do you plan to differentiate Fantagios in comparison to kind of free opportunities?
I would say that that's a good question. Okay, so I think that the influencers and creators that are readily available are the kind of the obvious ones, probably the more costly ones as well. And there's a lot of people who are kind of hidden away that don't really get any engagement just because of the fact that they're not going viral every week. So it's like there's not much of incentive these days to just create organic stuff that just means the world to you. Everyone wants to do something that has shock and awe value because that's the only way to get any attention. So I think with something like this, we're kind of bringing back real creativity in a sense, is that it allows real talent to start to shine through. One of the core beliefs of this platform is that we don't want to charge anyone. We don't want to take money in order to help somebody advance over somebody else. So we want to use this to level out the playing field. It's kind of like we want the cream to rise to the top, essentially, on this platform. So I think that's what sets us apart, is that we're not going for the kind of cheap, gimmicky stuff. We're going for people that are really serious about what they want to do and are not really seeing the results they would like to see at this point in their career, basically.
It's great, thank you. Okay, Nick has further question. So Nick.
Yeah, just one last question on the. Are you having a freemium model so they can get to try it first and then they subscribe? The question I have is, how do you balance the amount of functionality that you give them for free versus the stuff the extra bit that you then charge for? How do you get that balance right?
Okay, so we were initially going to be charging the users about $9.99 a month. That was in the initial plan, and it was gonna give you kind of unlimited access, no ads and all that kind of stuff. And then as I've spoken to a few of my advisors in the music industry, they've said we could easily charge the labels up to like 10 grand a month to access this type of data. So we thought that, okay, we can actually bring the cost down for the creators. So it's basically a freemium model. It's free to use. However, if you want to get rid of the adverts, you can pay about $3.99 a month, and then you can have like an ad-free experience. But really, everyone's going to have similar access. And the way we would kind of create different tiers is when we start to get a large base of these bigger users, so people that have 100K or 1 million, we can start to create more tiers based on social influence, because that's where the real benefit is that if you have 1 million followers and you match with somebody else who has 1 million, that shout out is very valuable. So we could almost charge £30 a month for those people and less for the smaller creators. So I think we'd probably create tiers based on their levels of social influence.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, judges, and thank you so much, Rem. That was really, really, really great. So I am going to move on to our next phenomenal founder that we will be showcasing today. £1 Million Homes is a luxury home platform that hyper-personalizes the home moving journey. And so I would love to introduce you to Kofi and £1 Million Homes.
Hi, my name is Kofi and I'm the founder of £1 Million Homes. A bit about myself: I worked in financial services for the last 7 years, working within retail, corporate, and alongside high net worth individuals as a relationship manager. For the past 5 years, I've been within the property industry and have a portfolio of 9 homes. We started showcasing luxury homes on social media back in 2018, as I believed it was being underutilized by the UK property market. We were even acknowledged by the Times in December 2018 as Instagram's estate agent. At the beginning of lockdown, we had about 3,000 followers. Throughout lockdown, we have amassed just over 165,000 engaged followers. These are made up of influencers, entrepreneurs, sports professionals, and high net worth individuals, making us one of the UK's largest property home decor accounts. In July 2020, when the property market opened up again, we decided to monetize our platform as we had an influx of users looking for homes to buy, rent, and use as staycations, as well as estate agents approaching us looking for buyers in proceedable positions. The problem with the property market is twofold. Home movers are spending up to 20 hours online looking for the right home. Buyers in particular are taking 9 months to find a home and up to 6 months to complete on the transaction. Estate agents receive an influx of low quality and unqualified leads from existing players such as Rightmove and Zoopla. Due to the competitive landscape, estate agents are now investing in social media platforms to obtain direct leads. The solution is £1 Million Homes, the luxury homes platform that hyper-personalizes the home moving journey, dramatically reducing the time taken to find the right home. Users will be able to see a curated list of homes based on what suits their needs, and estate agents will be able to receive better quality leads, being able to convert more quickly reducing the time taken for a user to find a home. Estate agents will upload their best listings onto the platform with high-resolution images, video, and virtuality tours, and users will be able to browse the platform online, viewing lists of properties based on personal preferences and what suits their needs, allowing them to make a more informed decision. This is a global opportunity, however, we'll be focusing on the UK luxury market before looking to expand internationally. Rightmove and Zoopla are the biggest players in the property market. By focusing on the luxury niche, we're catering to a digitally underserved market. Compared to the main players, we have a larger social presence, we provide a hyper-personalized user experience, we provide qualified and informed consumers with profiles, and we provide a luxury experience to a wide range of consumers, from a one-night experience to finding their forever home. We have a strong team with significant experience in luxury products, property, financial services, blockchain, and tech, with the added benefit of having advisors that have seen it all. This gives us a unique insight into the industry. We currently have over 500 registered buyers, over 165,000 followers, and over 250 million social media impressions. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Winnie, I see your hand is up, so would you like to go first?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, congratulations, Kofi. You'll be pleased to know I'm one of your plus 165 followers on Instagram. I'm biased in being a huge fan of what you do. My question that I have for you is, I do notice, it's probably an unfair advantage that I do follow you, so I see a lot of the comments you get on your posts. And it's usually aspirational followers, so people who look at a house and think, that's such a beautiful house, it's my dream home in, I don't know, however many years. How do you convert really serious buyers who can afford homes and therefore are on your app because they're potential clients versus people who follow the platform because of the aspirational lens that they bring to being a follower?
Can you hear me? Hi. Yeah, so obviously that's one of the biggest problems with social media. A lot of it's aspirational, but there's two things that's good about it. Is one, even though it is aspirational for the people that are taking inspiration from it, there's a massive market when it comes to home improvements, so especially over COVID. So we've actually recommended a lot of people to interior designers, architects, etc., just off the back of the fact that they may not be able to afford £1 million home, but they like the idea of they want to change the flooring or they want to change the carpet or something like that, and that's actually benefited us. But we still get contacted by people within that market because there's a shortage of properties available on the market. So we source properties for people within that market. But then we would have to pre-qualify them, ask for proof of funds, etc., before proceeding to that next position.
Brilliant, thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
Yeah, I'd just like to know a bit more in terms of how do you generate revenue? Is it people pay a fee to use the platform and then that's it? Or is it per service that you offer?
So at the moment, we're providing a manual service. So we would get commission from estate agents once we introduce somebody, and once they transact on a property, then we would take a commission off the estate agent. But once we actually have the digital platform, what we're going to be doing is having the same model there, but we would charge the users to personalize their experience, but we'll be using tech.
Great, thank
you. So they're much more automated process.
Wonderful. Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I was under the impression that both Rightmove and On the Market, I noticed you didn't have On the Market as a competitor. They pretty much have most of the houses that are available to buy. I mean, I love surfing property porn, so this is right up my street. But it's all there. How do you get that critical mass? It's very, very hard to get the critical mass where people come to you because they know that they're going to be able to see, say, every home that's available for sale in Battersea or Haringey or wherever they're looking.
So in the higher end market, there's more properties that are going off market, especially during the time that we're in. And a lot of what we're focusing on is the personalization aspect. So especially during COVID, we had people approaching us saying that they wanted to move from London to Hertfordshire, Surrey and Buckinghamshire, but they had no reason, they didn't know what area suited them. So we're not only just offering the stock, we're saying that we're providing recommendations, as well as saying that we can access these properties for you, maybe off market, but it's not just about exclusive stock. It's about we're providing the right recommendations suited to your needs and what you want, which Rightmove and On the Market don't do.
Yeah, so to some extent, are you also competing with the property search firms?
So yes, but we're providing it at a much more affordable price, and we're combining tech, and it's not just a manual service.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Judges, do we have any more questions?
No.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kofi. Liz, I'm going to pass it back to you.
Thank you, Indy. Thanks, Kofi. That's great. Thank you very much. So the next business we're going to hear from is Interstem. Interstem is an independent consultancy based in Cambridge and specializes in talent attraction, recruitment, development, and retention. And so we're going to hear from Gerald, founder of Interstem. Thank you.
Recruitment is broken. And here at Interstem, we believe that you deserve better options. So the problem right now is that the demand for STEM professionals far exceeds that of supply. And as a result, it's creating a lot of stress when looking for a new job. There's a lack of trust when it comes to middle agents representing your true desires and needs. And in general, for both employers and employees, it's not a pleasant experience. So why is this? There's too much noise in the market right now. There's a lack of transparency. People are spending far too much time looking for exactly what it is they both want and need. And this is where we're hoping to come in. We're hoping to help you only see the most relevant jobs on a very simple and easy to use, stress-free platform that gives you full control over exactly what it is you can see and also who can contact you and when. By simply asking you exactly what it is you want, and only allowing those people that meet all of your requirements to contact you, we're hoping to make delivering jobs that are relevant to you very, very simple. Looking for a job should always be this simple. Essentially, we're trying to create Bumble for jobs. The team right now is mainly made up of advisors and mentors, all of which have got experience across STEM sectors, high growth businesses, and in general have worked with businesses from startup level through to IPO. Apart from this, we're also looking to hire a CTO as a co-founder and also other members of staff to A, manage the candidate community and also B, manage the company partnerships. I've also worked in the recruitment industry for 10 years, so I'm also hoping to use my current experience to lead this project as CEO. The market size in the recruitment sector has been growing. It's looking to continue to do so, and permanent placements especially are looking to grow even more as we go into the next year. Right now, in terms of competition, Otter is probably the closest to what we're looking to do. And although initially it sounded like a bad thing, it's quite good because actually we can see that there's some validation behind the concept. Are we different? We're not a job board. We're not a candidate database. We're essentially a platform for candidates to filter out all of the noise and see exactly what it is they want to see. We're focusing specifically on the STEM sector, and we're also trying to encourage people to bring the lifestyle side of their life to the platform too. Because ultimately work is a lot of your time, but it's not necessarily all of your time. Here are just some of the reasons that we believe we have a competitive advantage amongst our competitors. Recruitment is broken.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you, Gerald. Thank you very much. So Barbara, I can see your hand up. So would you like to go first, please?
Yes, thank you, Gerald. A similar question. So how are you planning to make money?
Good question. An important one, I suppose, as well. So ultimately, we're looking to essentially start off by offering the service free to the candidate market, because really, I think making a place where candidates are being treated and considered first is most important. So in terms of the actual pricing model, it's going to be sort of two tiers, really. There's going to be the startup and scale up side of things, which will charge a rate for, then sort of the much larger corporate companies that have got much higher quantities of recruitment happening on sort of annual subscription licenses. Well, it'll probably be monthly subscription licenses, actually. So that's where we're looking to actually generate revenue.
Great, thank you.
Winnie, if you'd like to go next, please, I can see your hand up.
Brilliant, thank you, Gerald. I really liked seeing the acknowledgement of the D&I lens on there, especially with the balance of human and AI, so great recognition. And I also like the lifestyle angle. So there are a few pluses there for me as a D&I professional. I guess my biggest question to you is, one of the biggest challenges most organizations are facing, once again with the D&I lens, especially in STEM, is that there are underrepresentation issues for females, for example, Black talent, and other underrepresented groups. So I noticed in the demo, there was a big focus around filtering out the noise, only pick the jobs that are relevant to you. How do you then help employers to target specific demographics where they are facing challenges around hiring talent from specific groups?
Yeah, so that's, again, good question. I think that there's twofold. So I suppose the first thing is that ultimately your CV or anything wouldn't be submitted until the company has demonstrated that they meet the value of the person that's hiring. The second thing is, there's companies, for example, MeVite is a company I'm working with quite closely, who anonymize CV and kind of redact any information that gives away any information that gives too much demographic information away. But at the same time, I suppose on the flip side, from a data perspective, we would also be able to see the demographic information of requests of what they're looking for, what they want. So from that perspective, if we're noticing actually lots of companies aren't meeting the requirements of, for example, Black females, just as one example, it could be that we can see and notice those trends and actually just promote that through training as well.
Thank you, Winnie. Nick, if we come to you, please.
Yeah. So my question is, this is a standard chicken and egg situation. If you don't have the jobs, you don't get the candidates. If you don't have the candidates, you don't get the jobs. What do you think is do you think it's harder to get the candidates or to get the jobs?
I love the fact you said chicken and egg. I've literally got that written on the board. Have done anytime I've trained anybody new. It's exactly that. I think ultimately it needs to be, and to be fair, traditionally, I think that lots of recruiters would say, you need to go and find jobs. And this is the thing, there's a lack of trust there because you're ultimately selling the egg that you don't have yet quite often. And really, I think that candidates come first. They have to come first. But in order to attract them, that's where the priority should be, candidates. But in order to attract them, you need the jobs. And from my perspective, what I believe you need to do, and for this platform to succeed, there needs to be a huge level of transparency, and it's going to have to start off low cost or free in order to actually attract those candidates. And once the momentum and traction is building, that's when we can start to sort of demonstrate the value for scale-up, startup level, and then also the same for the corporate level. So yeah, I think ultimately it's going to have to be a case of both at the same time.
Right.
Thank you, Nick. If we take the final question from you, Winnie, please.
Or not necessarily a question, but I think based on Nick's point just raised there, it's not advice at all, but I think it's important you think about what value add there is for your candidates over and above finding jobs. I think one of the biggest challenges you have, especially in the STEM market, is how those skills translate into roles broader than those marketed or labeled as STEM roles. And I think that could be the opportunity you have here. What value brings you to the platform other than just searching for a job, so that you have an engaged group of people before the jobs start to come in. But that's just an additional thought from me. Really great proposal.
Absolutely, and thank you for that recommendation. And from my perspective, I think that's where the lifestyle piece is really important, because I think that there's no other platform that's really engaging people outside of their work. It's very transactional. It's very much a case of here's a job for you today, you've got it, see you later, and that's it, until maybe you need another one. Whereas the lifestyle element, I think, that's what people are doing for the rest of their time. So it's really important to keep them engaged in that respect.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Gerald. Thank you, judges.
Thank you.
I think I'll pass over to Indy now.
Thank you. So our next wonderful business is called Linuity. Linuity aims to open up a closed section of the economy to help businesses create jobs, help builders provide homes, and give people an opportunity to build wealth. So I would love to introduce you to Paul. founder of Linuity.
Linuity. We make affordable housing more affordable. The average house price is 65 times higher than in 1970, creating a massive gap between wages and affordability. Home ownership is not just about a roof over your head. It's emotional security, financial stability, and the costs have a direct relationship on disposable income, which drives our economy. In 2021, the Chancellor budgeted £7.3 billion in grants to build new homes. But that is only half of the equation. The Policy Exchange think tank, whose reports are said to often inform government policy, said what we really need is mortgage innovation. Linuity works with housing associations to provide mortgages that are fixed at 2% for 8 years. Rather than saving for years to get onto the housing ladder, first-time buyers will be able to buy now and build their financial stability. We're not a competitor to traditional finance, more of an incubator as we help the financially excluded join the mainstream. Here's an example. With Linuity, you get more for less. This comparison is based on a SoResi 2021 development. Our Homely plan costs less than their 50% share, yet you'd own 100% of your own home. My name is Paul Watts, and I'm the author of Seller Finance UK, which was first published in 2012. I'm an expert in owner financing, which is an incredibly powerful financial tool. Often misunderstood, it's a minefield of rules and regulations. Linuity issues mortgages, but it has no borrowing and no lending and can scale rapidly to issue tens of thousands of mortgages. We enable house builders to finance their customers, just like car manufacturers finance their customers. Our platform makes the whole process simple and painless. We manage all the unfamiliar and complex tasks like legals, compliance, origination, and servicing. We use smart contracts and the existing subsidies to create blended mortgages and institutional investment opportunities. We've just launched our MVP, focused on financing the sale of land to developers. We help owners sell faster and for more money by financing their customers. Providing certainty and lowering costs empowers smaller developers to build more homes. Linuity is a digital solution, so we can scale rapidly across international borders, subject to local regulatory approvals. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful. Barbara, can I kick off with you?
Yes, this is really up my street. So I'm really intrigued by this. Thanks, Paul. So I've got two questions, if I may. The first was about eligibility criteria. So can anyone just get a Linuity mortgage? And I think you mentioned in terms of finances, you don't own the money. So do you have special investors that enable you to provide these kind of mortgages?
Hi, thank you, Barbara. That's a great question. Funds are not provided by us. We facilitate owner financing, which means we're using the equity rather than finance coming in to fund the solution, right? And so the criteria is normally set by our customer, who then becomes a lender, and we provide the servicing, guide them through creation, ongoing management, and collection.
Great, thank you.
Barbara, did you have a second question?
No, I mentioned in terms of investor, but he handled that as well.
Perfect. Nick?
How does it look from a customer's perspective, someone wanting to buy the house? How different does it look from them taking the normal route to get a mortgage?
The difference is really that our customer, who's the seller, they would advertise their property development site, or in case of a housing association, they would advertise it with a financial package. So they're advertising it with a loan offering.
I I can see that. I can see how there's a good parallel between people who sell cars and the way that they will automatically offer you the finance. And it does make sense. It makes a lot of sense. Just thinking from the buyer's perspective, when they're looking at it, is this going to be a better mortgage, a cheaper mortgage than if they went to a normal mortgage provider?
Yes. Normally, the most common is the assets where they're less desirable for traditional finance for various different reasons. So in the case of a development site, this is something that has no income, and therefore traditional finance would want more strict to require, they want additional security. And so with the owner, the current owner, what they own represents good security to them. So they're able to offer better terms, which complete quicker and offer significant advantages for the buyer in terms of certainty of how long it's going to complete, so we can do transactions really quickly. In the case of builders, they get significant cost benefits because of the certainty of how long it's going to take, when to schedule work, what their costs are going to be like. Not providing additional personal guarantees means they've got to have everything else on the line for the transaction, because for the owner, the asset is good security because they already chose to buy it.
Wonderful. Winnie.
Just a quick one for me around regulation. Obviously, the financial services industry is highly regulated. I'd be curious to hear around what the regulatory landscape could look like, and in terms of the obligations that you'll have as a business in how you manage and broker those relationships.
Excellent. Where we fit in terms of regulation is our launch, which we've just launched our MVP for the developers. Those are unregulated transactions. They're commercial transactions. They don't fall into the regulation. They don't fall into line with the regulations. What we're moving towards is to be able to provide mortgages for homeowners in terms of housing associations. They're going to homeowners, right? And so we're going through our regulatory compliance process, right? And we fall under two different categories, which is the peer-to-peer lending. Although we're not many-to-many, but one-to-one, we'd fall under the category of peer-to-peer lending licensing, which is quite common and easy to get. And the other category we fall under is being a home loan provider. And so they're both traditional classes, and we're just applying it in an original way, or an innovative way, rather.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, judges, and thank you, Paul. Liz.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right. So the next business we're going to hear from is Cassie. Cassie is an informative e-commerce platform that uses AI technology to simplify hair care for people with textured hair. So let's hear from Flora, founder of Cassie.
Hello, we are Kasai, an e-commerce and data insights company for those with textured hair. Did you know that Black women in the UK account for 80% of total hair product sales but make up less than 3% of the UK population? Kasai was actually launched over lockdown, and we won an online founders competition. We bonded over our frustrations with the Afro hair industry and desire to make the experience of learning, caring, and buying for textured hair less stressful. The key problem areas are the limited access to products and resources outside metropolitan cities. It is hard to find the right hair specialist who is qualified in caring for Afro curly hair. There is not a lack of information, but rather an oversaturation of blogs and user-generated content, which makes it difficult to know which is applicable to your own hair needs. Businesses also struggle in this industry. Brands want to know more about how consumers are using their products and customer trends, as there's less research in this niche industry. Our solution is made up of 4 parts: the virtual consultation, which is powered by an AI chatbot, verified scientific information, and a directory of hair specialists. On our B2B side, all of the information collected is anonymized, then used to create data dashboards and reports for businesses to better understand their consumers. In a $5.25 billion industry, Afro hair salons make up 0.007% of registered salons, and Afro hair customers are likely to be turned away from mainstream salons, simply because Afro hair training is not mandatory to be qualified. Our MVP will cut down the time that users take to research their hair. Users will be able to complete the free virtual consultation, save their details onto a profile, purchase recommended products, and view professionals in their local area. This is a great time for our next stage of growth, because we have immersed ourselves in the industry and community. We started off with surveys and one-to-one interviews, which helped us to refine our understanding of our target market. We held a virtual panel event to validate the interest in learning about textured hair. We also consulted with hair experts who became our advisors on our virtual consultation. From the survey, we selected a handful of people. Meet Beth, whose children are mixed race. Having straight hair, she felt a bit lost navigating this space. A tool like Kasai would provide her with much-wanted product guidance. And she was not alone, as 100% of surveyed parents with mixed-race children rated their children's hair as a 4 to a 5 out of 5 in day-to-day priorities. We then built upon this research by running trial consultations. This brings us to Ellie, who has a dry scalp and a little bit of alopecia. She has seen a GP, but also wanted to consult with a trichologist who specialized in Afro curly hair. We recommended her to one of our advisors, and she says that her scalp feels a lot better and her hair is growing more evenly. Overall, our target market has shown the most interest in using technology to better understand their hair, and cares about having healthy hair above other hair priorities. Our key revenue streams will be e-commerce and data analytics. We will sell individual hair products and offer a subscription service for automated product delivery. Our B2B dashboards will be a monthly service priced based on our clients' needs. To increase traction, we will continue to grow our following on Instagram. We engage them through lives, posting helpful tips, and giveaways. We will continue our panel series and feature on podcasts, publications, and Black business fairs. Kasai, tailored hair care resources which are educational, ethical, and accessible for those with Afro curly hair. Thank you.
Thank you, Flora.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Right. So we've got, if I could kick off with you first, please, Barbara.
Great, thank you. Thanks, guys. I really identify with this, like this key problem that you're trying to solve. So I had two questions, actually. You mentioned one key problem is people finding like hair specialists outside of the cities. So I wondered, how are you planning to address that? Because I couldn't quite tell in your revenue model how that was going to be addressed. And another thing, I just really wanted to understand, what is your market? Is it London? Is it just UK in general? It would be good to hear more about that.
Sure. So I'll take the last question first. So in terms of our market, we're going to start with the UK. We want to make sure that we're able to also spotlight Black-owned businesses as well. So we're featuring that on our website as well. But yeah, initially our market is going to be the UK to begin with. And in terms of the specialists, people can also get those resources, but with virtual consultation as well. So in terms of like video consultations with an expert as well. So that is kind of not necessarily even limited to the UK. But yeah, they will be able to kind of get the specialists outside. And if they want to kind of have it in person, they can also go in person to those services. But there are specialists across the country, just kind of finding them is where it's harder.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Barbara. If we come to you, Winnie, please.
Thank you. I'm so excited about this. As someone who spent a lot of time last week trying to find someone to do a texture release and reading multiple reviews, I think you're really onto something phenomenal here. My question is around the B2B side and the data and analytics. I think it's great that you're thinking about it. I'd love to hear more around what your strategy is and what companies you're targeting, because I think this is great from an end user standpoint for the woman with the curly hair, or the family or whatever. But I'd love to understand your thought around what companies want this data and what's your strategy for targeting them.
Okay, so I can answer that question. So we are actually targeting brands like who are trying to really cater to Afro-curly hair customers. So for example, L'Oreal, who's trying to break into that space, will be collecting the data from our e-commerce side, so through the first consultation, through user behavior, and we'll be like, okay, look, this is what they want, what they like, what works for them, depending on their issues, and this is how you can improve your products and your marketing to cater to them better. So we'll be targeting people who are looking to serve the community better.
And yeah, just to kind of also group that into two main categories, it would be new emergents in the market. So maybe these might be big businesses already who have simply not ventured into this industry, and also businesses within the industry who are also looking to grow and better understand their consumer bases.
Yeah, we have a tiered system, so startups, mid-sized businesses, and enterprises.
And thank you. So if we take the final question from Nick, please.
I can really see how you can deal with the problem as far as the product is concerned and making better availability. That really get that. What do you think you can do about the service that's not available? Because you refer to the fact it's very metropolitan. In the metropolitan areas, it's fairly well served. But if you live in Wiltshire, where I live, probably not. But actually, what can you do to help solve that problem? Or is that part of what you're aiming to solve?
So with the areas outside metropolitan cities, we want to essentially reach them through through a variety of different ways. We're still fine-tuning our delivery system, but we're seeing that we could reach them through their nearest beauty supply store. So we would have a system kind of like Deliveroo where you can order the product and it's sent to your local delivery beauty supply store and then sent to you, or we can have a mixture where we have it from our own fulfillment centers and sent out. So a combination would make it more accessible to them.
Just to clarify, I can understand how you can deal with the product issue, but to what extent are you dealing with the provision of the service, which is obviously is a very hands-on. So does the business deal with recommending people who can provide the service, which of course someone physically needs to be there?
Oh, okay. So in terms of the service, it's actually much easier because most of the services will be provided online. So you do the consultation, and it flags up maybe you have a scalp issue, and you should consult your GP or trichologist. And if you want to see a trichologist, we have a list of them available, and you can book an appointment with them online. If you want to go in person, it will show you the one closest to you in the UK. And obviously there is a smaller amount of people who specialize in Afro-curly hair, but we try to bridge that gap with having it online.
And we also allow people to have the consultation within our platform as well. So after they have the virtual one and then they see that they do want to explore a consultation with a person who specializes in a certain area, then they can also have that in person on the platform as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I will pass over to Indy to introduce the next business. Thank you.
Thank you. So I would love to introduce you all to Babu. Babu is a digital nursery, an early years ecosystem designed to empower parents to build better support to empower their child's development in the first 5 years. So I would love to introduce you to Babu.
COVID has opened up a new world for us, where the virtual world and the physical world will collide. And I think the education space is going to show this in a way we haven't seen.
Millions of children are missing out on structured learning and development opportunities in the early years due to growing issues of affordability. And yet the science tells us that a child's experience from conception through their first 5 years will go on to shape the next 50.
We've got good credentials behind us, and we are building a great team.
We are 3 friends that grew up in very different circumstances, each with our own experiences of breaking through barriers, and an understanding that sadly, for some children, a lack of money mean they're forever playing catch up.
The story is called Where the Wild Things Are, with a private boat for Max, and he sailed off through night and day.
With a background of over 20 years working in and managing nursery settings, We've seen firsthand that the playful interactions we have with children in the first few years of their life can make a notable difference to their future. Baboo was made for baby and you. We've taken decades of experience and science, distilled it into a user-friendly platform, added the knowledge of childcare experts from around the world, and made it fun. It's a digital nursery that's open to everyone.
I do find it challenging sometimes to think about what's something new and exciting we can do for him that he's going to enjoy, and actually I'm going to enjoy as well.
It's those kind of day-to-day challenges, as well as, you know, decisions around his development.
Will be, is this normal? He's waking up at 5:30 every day. Has anybody experienced this? What can we do? You know, what would you recommend?
I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know how to go about it, and I didn't know where to go.
I would like advice on how I can make her more confident. Like, what can I do? What activities can I do to make her less shy?
There's a lot of pressure to do the right thing and to be perfect at parenting. It's a lot, and having somewhere that you could go and find a bit of support will always be invaluable.
The internet, social media, there's a lot of information out there, and it's not really curated.
Possible.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Let's kick off. Barbara.
So, very insightful presentation. Thank you, guys. So I have two questions. My first is, I can understand how this is really a really crucial offering during the pandemic when people had to work from home. But how do you see this working when people start going into the office and maybe they need more physical care as well as that digital stimulation? And then my second question was, I don't have kids, but my understanding is that interacting with other kids also helps with development. So is there that opportunity to build community through the platform?
Shall I take this? You want to take this, Charlie?
You go.
I'll go straight in. Okay, so if we take the social aspect first, yes, it is very important for kids to be hanging out with other kids, kind of getting those social things. What's right? How can I talk and communicate with those children over time? The app at this point in time doesn't support that, but we will be adding events later down the line once we get past our MVP. So we'll be adding community events where you can go and hang out with people. We'll basically team up with local communities things. I know that was a bit bubbly, but yes. And then the first question was?
I can take the first question. So yeah, we don't actually solve the childcare crisis in terms of offering physical care, and that is something that the government needs to address, unfortunately, or corporates need to start building in-house nurseries. But the majority of children under 3 do not attend a formal childcare setting because the fact that funding doesn't come into the age of 3. And those first 2 years, up to 3 years of life, are the most important when a child's brain is developing fastest. So that's where we come in. And it's not to say that our product doesn't have a longer lifetime value. It's from conception through to reception, so from 0 to 5 years. And we are seeing parents who are working using this, you know, at the weekends, or getting their nannies to use it, or their grandparents, and to support holistically with the childcare solution they're using.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Winnie.
Thank you. As someone with 2 toddlers, I really see the need behind this, and I think it's brilliant that you've created this. And I also love the one-for-one model where you take a payment from a person and then also give back to a parent that can't afford it. So I also wanted to say that was great. My question is around how you tap into available support. So I know, for example, the government offers tax-free childcare, which can be used to subsidize kind of face-to-face support, or I guess in-person support. Have you explored opportunities to use some of that funding for something like this, or is it all private funded only?
You want to take it too?
No, you go for it, John.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so is your question about can we get funding from the government, not just angel investors and VCs?
Yeah, so there's accessible funding for parents, for example. I think it's something like if you pay £8 into like a government portal, they'll give you an additional £2, and you can use it for things like holiday clubs and stuff like that. I was just curious as to whether or not you've explored how subsidies can be used for your platform, or whether or not it's not something you've thought about yet.
It is something we've thought about, but not really pushed too far. So prior to this, I was running a physical nursery in Islington, and I've worked very closely with Islington Council's education and early years team. So we are talking to them about working with their Sure Start services. Obviously, they have a lot of children's centres across the borough and across London and the UK. And even in the Queen's speech, she made a priority on digitalising support in early years and childcare sector. So I think this is very timely at the moment. There's been a huge spotlight specifically on working parents. For any of you asking where we're going to make our money from, our go-to-market strategy in the first year is working with corporates. So we plan to offer this to parents as part of an employee wellbeing package, the same way that Headspace is offered to employees. So a company will take an annual subscription at the time that somebody tells their employee that they are pregnant. Typically at 6 months, they get given a year's subscription. So that covers them through their last trimester of pregnancy first and the next 9 months whilst they're on maternity leave. And then it's up to the individual to obviously continue that subscription on after that. And then, yes, we are in discussions with both local authorities and charities. Javed Khan OB is one of our board advisors, who was the ex-chief executive of Barnados, about how we distribute access to the app free to the UK's most disadvantaged families. Nick.
Yeah, so I'm a father of a 4-year-old, so I'm always trying to find ways to, even though she does get a nursery, there's a lot of time when we have to entertain her. And funny enough, it's really, really hard. So any help is very useful. How much does it cost? I mean, I'll say this, I'll be looking at this immediately after the session's over. I'll be going on and having a look at this. But how much does it cost?
So our current pricing model for a corporate is £100 for a year subscription.
Okay, so perfectly affordable. And you say you're mostly aiming at those who don't have childcare provision.
So at the moment, we are hyper focused on the target market we're going after. So our content is 0 to 18 months, and then obviously we'll expand upon that. Within our curriculum, we have 500 specific learning objectives of milestones that children need to meet, and each of our activity suggestions, which I should also just say are activities you do offline. So it's about spending time with your child in a meaning and beneficial way. And using everyday resources around the house, not investing in loads of toys and Lego. Sorry, Lego. Where was I in that conversation?
And I think also what we do on the side of that as well is not that we only give you tailored specific activities for your child. We also married it up with information and things you need as a parent just in time. So if the child is 0 to 3 months, we're talking about breastfeeding and like sleeping and all that kind of management. So you get what you need to do for your child and what you need to do for you as well.
I'm so sorry, but I'm going to have to call time. Thank you so much, guys. That was so lovely.
Thank you for having
us.
Thank you, Indy. Thank you. So before we take a break, we're going to hear from another founder. So next we're going to hear from Cuevo. Cuevo is an analytic platform offering automated and pre-built innovation AI dashboard design to empower businesses with an insight they need in a timely manner to generate more revenue. So let's hear from Audrey, founder of Quivo.
Hello and welcome. My name is Audrey Limiri, CEO and founder of Quivo. I am a data scientist and data strategist helping businesses with data and digital transformation. We all know that data is valuable and used to make better decisions. However, many businesses struggle to generate value from their data. Traditional analytics tools often require technical skills, making it challenging for non-tech users. And with such a great variety of data sources, it can be overwhelmingly complex to perform data integration and really see the big picture. So building a report or dashboard can take days or weeks, which is quite counterproductive. We want to transform the way businesses do analytics and offer non-tech users a one-stop shop for their analytical needs, a way to quickly and effectively generate key insights and make timely, data-driven decisions. Quivo is a software as a service analytics platform for businesses, offering pre-built and automated dashboards designed to quickly answer key questions. Quivo empowers businesses with the insight they need by providing value-driven analytics on demand. Quivo was built with non-tech users in mind. Our platform is easy to use and requires minimal training. With Quivo, analytics is made simple in 4 easy steps. To start, sign up on our website and take advantage of our 14-day free trial. Once you're logged in, browse our library and select the desired dashboard template. Upload your data using the Excel template provided, and voila! The dashboard automatically refreshes and generates key insights based on your data. Easily share your dashboards with collaborators such as colleagues, investors, or clients by using the unique URL generated with each dashboard. And we have exciting news because this year we are launching Quivo API. With Quivo API, you can connect various applications directly to our platform. Leave the data integration to us and simply use the dashboards which are relevant to your business. Get access to advanced analytics and machine learning without the need to write a single line of code. Also, if you need customized dashboards, analytical models, or applications, Quivo Plus is for you. We can build exclusive dashboards tailored to your requirements and linked to your own data pipeline. If you need additional data services, just let us know, and we will help you design and implement the best solution for your business. Quivo can be used at any stage. Whether you are a startup or an established organization, Quivo is the analytics toolbox that grows with your business. And this is our team. We are a group of talented people with a wide range of skills working together to make Quivo a powerful analytical solution for businesses. We'd love to hear from you, so feel free to contact us and follow us on social media. Thank you for listening.
Quivo, analytics on demand.
Hello.
Thank you, Audrey. If I could kick off with you, please, Barbara, because I've sent your hand up.
Yes, thank you, Audrey. I can just see this presentation. I can see this product actually just removing the stress from so many people. One question I had, or actually two, how are you planning to get your customers? Do you have customers already? If not, how are you planning to market this to your target customer base?
Hi, Barbara. Thank you for your question. So yes, we do have traction in a few customers on the moment, such as an educational institution, supply chain consultancy, and we have more traction. We have more customers coming on, so leads, people interested in the platform, such as food retailers, general merchandise retailers, etc. So for me, the main goal is to find customers will be interested in supply chain dashboard, because supply chain is one of our main verticals, especially with the supply chain disruption happening now. We want to offer supply chain solutions to help businesses optimize their supply chain and reduce carbon footprint, especially in line with net zero initiative. So we have an extensive roadmap at the moment to attract more customers. Does that answer your question, Barbara?
Yes, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Nick, I can see your hand up.
Yeah, Audrey, that's I'm a real believer in the importance of data and analysis, and I deal a lot with e-commerce businesses, and I see so many startups that it's like they like trying to drive a car without a dashboard, and you need to know how fast you're going, you need how much you've got in the tank, and everything else. So I really see the value of this. I was intrigued at. You started talking about Excel, and then you said you're now going to have an API that links into anything. Will that link into things like Shopify, and all the other products that a lot of e-commerce startups use? So it'll just extract directly from those apps.
Yes, so in regard to Quivo API, the user will be able to connect directly to their data sources such as Shopify, LinkedIn, Stripe, etc. So we're not trying to compete with those third-party applications. The goal is to add to provide extra value and advanced analytics based on all those data sets. And particularly if you think about data integration, most of the time you've got analytics, but in silo, based on the data, including in each application. Our goal is to provide dashboard that can integrate all those data sources and really provide insight that you cannot find in those different applications physically.
And with just a follow-up question on that, with how does what you offer compare with the analytical tools within something like Shopify?
I like that question. So usually traditional tools are quite limited. And if you think about Power BI and Tableau, for example, those are very good examples. The user need technical skills to be able to use those tools. Most of the time, you need to know what data to use, what graph to use, the format, etc. So there's this big process between the raw data and the insight. So with Quivo, we're trying to streamline the process and make this process easier for the users, especially non-tech users, and really generate insight quickly. So the dashboard we provide, you can just plug your data, get your insight, or we build the dashboard for you. That's Quivo Plus. We build the dashboard for you. We build your data pipeline, and you just get your insight basically.
Thank you. Shall we take the final question from you then, Winnie? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Liz. Just a really quick one from me. I love that you addressed the point on how this adds value versus what a Shopify would provide, because that was my first question. But I'd love to understand how it works for multiple platforms, because for many organizations, like we've heard, they don't even know that they need to be using this data, right? So those complex views are probably the biggest opportunity here. Do you have multiple integrations where they could look at maybe their social media leads versus sales and that sort of thing?
Yes, so this is exactly what we have on the roadmap. So with Quivo API. So if you think, I'll give you an example with digital marketing. There are a lot of tools offering digital marketing analysis, but on a very basic level. But what we're trying to do is, for example, provide dashboard where you can link LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Google Analytics, and really see your digital marketing return on investments. See if your digital marketing strategy is working, really get this added, this advanced analytics, with advanced insights, basically. So that's absolutely the goal for Quivo right now.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we're going to take a 5-minute break. Please don't go, stretch your legs. And then we're coming back to the room at 12:43. So taking a 5-minute break and we come back.
Welcome back, everyone. Please join us once again so we can kick off the next set of our phenomenal videos. But before we get to the next set of our videos, I would like to introduce the next members moment. But before I introduce this moment, I want to give another shout out to the amazing James. James is part of Shotgun Digital. He is currently on our program and he has had such a big part to play in some of these moments. So I want to say a quick thank you to James for going above and beyond to support us on this journey. So the next member moment is from Ola, founder of Ripples Print. They design, print, and embroidery a comprehensive range of garments, as well as customize and brand different corporate gifts. So it's a phenomenal idea. So I would love to introduce our next moment.
What's a piece of advice you give to someone who hasn't applied and hasn't hit that button yet?
If you haven't applied, just go ahead and hit that button. Don't wait, because the wealth of information in one place is mind-blowing. You cannot get it anywhere, and you're not paying for these top people to speak to you, the mentors, the coaches. Brilliant. Go for it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So we are back onto our demos, and the next one we're going to hear from is ListMe. ListMe is a guest management CRM social network platform with a built-in digital ID connectivity, a fully digital hospitality solution, so your customers become an asset rather than a liability. So let's hear from Kelston, founder of ListMe.
ListMe aims to simplify your social life, enabling freedom with a sleek, touchless digital ID verification system for faster and secure event hospitality management. No wallet, no paper ID, a full touchless customer experience. The hospitality industry is changing. ListMe enables you to keep up with these changes. Our G token and cashless capabilities allow you to explore freely. We gain insights on GPS tracking and gamification for social tourism comfort. Just input your location and it will tell you what's on, who's going, and maybe, just maybe, you'll meet a new dance partner. Find drink specials, clubs, parties, concerts, and more. Make new friends, connect your current ones, synchronize plans, and learn about new places. We've placed security at the heart of our operations. Your data, identification, and safety are assured. We believe in self-connect, self-ID, self-list, and self-service. Wallet-free with security in mind. Events made simple.
Now you've watched a teaser of ListMe, mainly from the user side. Now let me give you the bigger picture. Why should you care? Local authorities don't have the capacity or the data to protect from crime in hospitality and festivals, while abuse, racism, and drink spiking is increasing. Some interesting facts. Over 700,000 women record being sexually assaulted per year. 50% of women, 7% of men are victims of drink spiking. 6% of fraudsters use physical fakes. Host effortless events in 5 simple steps. Create your event, 4-step process. Launch your event, refine your guest list, and send out invitations to your friends. Get verified, upload your ID, and finally remove that big, ugly ID machine from the door. Take control. Allocate promoters and your door pickers and set their commission. And finally, check in the guests. We finally remove lengthy queues, long verification checks, and that famous pay the clipboard. The founders have experienced these issues firsthand. Our CEO, Rory May, is mainly focused on product and the visionary side. Our COO has worked for large corporations such as RBS, Fujitsu, Sybase, and SAP. Our Chief Business Officer has over 12 years experience in the F&B industry, and our CTO has over 10 years experience managing large technical projects. Now you've seen our events management ListMe solution. We launched in September 2021. We've got over 10 brands and venues now using the solution, and we're generating revenue. You've seen some of the team, a glimpse of the product, and I hope you get and see the bigger picture in the issue and problem we're trying to solve. Wallet free with security in mind. Events made simple.
Thank you very much. Thanks. That's great. Thank you. I can see your hand up, Barbara. Please, if you go first.
Yes, I just wanted to understand a bit more in terms of your customer base. So are they kind of large corporates, hotels, or can an individual who wants to host an event also set up an event on your platform? Another thing, it would be great to understand how you generate revenue as well.
Kelson, I think you're on mute.
Do it. No, one more time. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, so to answer your question, yeah, an individual can host an event. So for example, we've just started speaking to a company called TUI Spaces. They basically provide creative spaces for, say, film sets, model sets, and they said the same thing. So yeah, you could literally host your event. It could be a house party, etc. And yeah, it doesn't really matter if you're a big venue or a big brand. I mean, look, when we first started, it was purely aimed at, I'll be very honest with you, probably more venues, because that's like the bigger wider problem. But I think now people are very much wanting to feel safe even from their own homes. So yeah, private parties, exclusive events, individual spaces can definitely be done. So yeah, thank you. In terms of the revenue side, we do B2B subscription. So it's $39.95 per month for the brand or the venue. And then there's a small transaction fee where at the moment it's averaging around 2.9% that we take.
Great. Just to follow on from that, so for individuals, would they pay a one-off fee instead of a subscription?
So let's say in your case, you're having like a private event, I'm guessing might be for free. So you'd actually have the platform for free for 12 months, and then you'd be charged a subscription.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Thanks, Barbara. Winnie, I can see your hand up.
Thank you, Liz. I noticed a lot of the kind of USPs that you spoke about, I guess, relate to the end user, so the individual and their safety, which I thought was great to call out. How do you plan to, I guess, sell your proposition to the organizer, especially for big organizations that are typically paying lots of money to be listed on other sites? What's your plan for, I guess, getting that kind of business and market?
Yeah, I'd say we get coined basically Eventbrite on steroids. That's basically what we get called, which is probably not a bad thing, right? I mean, Eventbrite's huge, but the problems we're really solving is that we really streamline the front of house, which is the door pickers and the promoters, and then the back of house, right? So it now means that the ID machine that they have on entrance is around £300 per month. We take that away because then we're allowing users to preload their ID, on the way or even well before the event. So what that means is they get to know the character behind the booking. So they'll go, okay, where's Winnie been? What she spent? Is she basically a valuable customer? So it's a full CRM platform rather than just sort of a one-time transaction, see you later. It's about really learning about the character. I think to your other point, we do actually log real-time incidents. So we're currently speaking to the Home Office now, where we're planning a pilot with the university. It'll probably kick off later this year, where the drink spiking. I think you've heard of like Dawn Dimes and Shauna from Love Island, really reaching out and really pushing that campaign, right? But there is no tool right now that allows any event organizer, again, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, that just allows real-time incident reports to be captured. So for example, you and I are on a night out, we get in, I might cause a fight, I might get thrown out, the bouncer door picker logs it straight away. That gets shipped to the local authorities anonymously, and then they can start to understand, police capacity, ambulance capacity, and things like that. So that's kind of the long-term value, I would say, for the event organizers and the local authorities, if that makes sense.
Thank you, Winnie. If we take the final quick question from Nick, please.
Does this system require the venue to ensure that everybody going into that venue goes through the same ID system? Because otherwise, if anyone can bypass it, that's a security issue. And the follow-on question to that is there? Do you think there's any resistance? I think it's a fantastic idea. I can really see the problem you're trying to solve. But I have no issue with CCTV. Is there a resistance to the product being introduced in venues because people don't like being facially ID'd when they go in?
Yeah. So remember, they don't actually do it's not like going to an airport where you're scanning at your face, because I think that's quite aggressive. I think that would probably put people off. But you're right. What we do, we make it optional. So we're a toolbox, right? So we say to the venue event organizer, do you really want to make it mandatory to upload your ID? Yes or no? It's always their choice. So we don't want to create bottlenecks. So we completely understood that. When we started doing our beta testing, if I'm honest, it was mandatory. And we realized straight away people getting put off by that. Because, the Monzo banks, the Barclays, it's working really well. Apple's doing it in the US right now. So I think in the next 3-4 years, this whole having your ID on your phone will become very, very normal. But right now, it's about just changing the mindset and the transitioning in a slow sort of natural manner, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll pass over to Indy now.
Thank you, Liz. So I'd love to introduce our next business, which is Optimus Health. Optimus Health is a holistic wellbeing management platform that unifies multi-source wellbeing data from any wearable device. So I'd love to introduce you all to Raphael and his business.
Hi there, my name is Dr. Raphael Olaya. I am the CEO and founder of Optimus Health Technologies. The problem with today's wellbeing services market is that it's fragmented and disjointed, meaning the wellbeing services market does not bring the elements of well-being together in a synergistic, holistic manner. And we do know well-being is holistic, and it's different for everyone. And that must be looked at on an individual basis for people to allow people to achieve their potential. The 5 domains of well-being: fitness and exercise, nutrition, mindfulness and psychological health, sleep, and physical medical health. We at Optimus Health bring together the 5 domains of well-being from different data sources, whether that be a wearable, whether that be mobile data, whether that be clinical data, and we bring the different sources of this data and we put it on one dashboard. This revolutionary well-being dashboard is easy to navigate in as much detail as you want or as little detail as you want, so you can gain actionable insights to optimize your well-being. Another important aspect of this product is that the user can contact expert coaches anytime they want, on demand, whether that be a nutritional expert coach to look at what you've been eating to help you achieve your fitness goal or your weight goal or your body composition goal, or it be a fitness trainer to make sure you have the right workout, or it be a sleep expert to augment your sleep pattern, or a medical doctor to give you advice on how to increase your energy levels through supplementation or anything else. Users of Optimus Health can choose a subscription that suits their lifestyle. For example, they can choose to coach themselves using the app to bring multi-source data onto one dashboard: nutrition, clinical, exercise, and sleep. Or they can use a host of on-demand experts in different fields using their subscription that they choose. The core team of Optimus Health is made up of experienced medical doctors, number 2, machine learning engineers and computer scientists for the technical development, and number 3, well-being experts to bring everything together for well-being optimization. What progress has Optimus Health made so far? We started in December 2020, and we started with a manual beta product that we used on general practice patients to see if they would benefit from it. And they did. So we moved on to a digital version of the product, a digital MVP on the Android platform. And the early adopters of the platform benefited from it. And then now we have developed iOS and Android, and we've developed a more sophisticated version. And we have paying active users. And we're doing a soft launch in the coming week after successfully coaching on the platform 5 users.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Judges, do we have any questions?
I have a question.
Okay, go for it, Bob.
I always have a question. This is another one that's close to my heart because back in the day, I still am actually, I guess, a medical doctor. So I'm excited to see that you brought healthcare professionals in with other well-being aspects. What I would like to know is how you're generating revenue and how you plan to scale.
Yeah, so hi there, pleasure to speak to you and everyone else. So how we generate revenue is first of all through a subscription model, and the subscription models are based upon the amount of support someone wants. So the basic level is not getting any organized support from a coach, but they can put that on, whether they need a nutritionist or expert fitness trainer or a doctor to advise them on what type of tests might help their particular problem, if they have that, or just to optimize their well-being. So the basic level, and then depending on the amount of support they want. So the standardized support is the first level, which is at £50 a month, which would just be one of the types of domains of coaching, which could be nutrition, and then £100, which is 2, and then £150, which is all of them together, which is 3 different coaches from fitness and exercise and psychological well-being.
Great,
thank you. Any other questions, judges? Winnie.
I'm happy to go next. This is great. I think one of the things that's on my mind is you talked right at the beginning of the video around there are so many fragmented tools that people are using. I'd love to hear where you are on your journey of integrations and what apps are you currently integrated with, and I guess what's your plan for the rest of the apps that you're trying to work on if you don't have, well, I guess most of the market leaders. I'd love to hear where you are on that journey.
So the technology was the biggest challenge, first of all, and we've been able to organize that challenge. So we have all the major wearables. So we have Apple Health, Oura Ring, Fitbit, and Huawei all integrated on our platform, and also Google Health. So pretty much all of them, and the data is normalized and organized. So it's in a format that everyone can understand, whether it be the coach or the user, and no platform right now allows that data to be shared in an open source way. So that's the wearable way. And then the clinical data, so from blood tests, we have integration with a laboratory as well. That is nationwide. And the processes for the taking the blood, whether it be a finger prick or taking the blood from a clinic, that's already been organized. So all the elements of integration are already done.
Great, thank you. I'm going to pass it on to Nick.
So I really see the importance of what this does. One of the big issues that a lot of these apps have is adherence by the customer. What kind of hooks are you developing to get people to get slightly addictive, a bit like with Strava, where you're competing with other people? What are the kind of hooks that get you to keep coming back and using it?
So there's two major hooks. The first one is, I'd say, the secondary hook, which is gamification, which is it's been a lot of companies have been focused on this over the past few years, and it's very important. However, the most important hook is the coaching relationship. And as a doctor and a well-being coach, for me, that is something which comes down to understanding what the person wants, what their life's all about, and understanding the way they want their life to be. And every user is looked at on an individual basis to build that relationship that really allow them to make the lifetime value of the customer, optimize that value, but more importantly, give value to them. So those two things, gamification and the relationship, making sure the user knows it's very valuable.
As someone who would not go to a gym if I wasn't paying someone to be my willpower, that when I get there, I see the importance of that kind of human hook. So very good.
Wonderful. I'm going to have to call time. Thank you so much, Raphael. That was really, really great. Liz, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Indy. Right, so the next one we're going to hear from is the UK's first and only Black-owned restaurant directory. Black Eat London has featured in over 300 plus restaurants, cafes and bars and street food spots across London and other major cities. So now let's hear from Jackson, founder of Black Eat.
Hey, I'm Jackson, founder of Black Eats London, the UK's first and only Black-owned restaurant directory.
I launched Black Eats London shortly after the Black Lives Matter protest in 2020 as a way of utilising my skills that I'd already developed, my passions, and put that into the platform, which you now see today. There was a clear lack of spotlight on Black-owned restaurants, as Vice News showed that in 2020, the previous calendar year, only 2 Black-owned restaurants were featured by all major British news media outlets. Breaking down the barriers to supporting Black-owned businesses was at the core of the development of the directory. Making sure the platform was easy to use was very key. We made sure that people could search restaurants based on their current location, input addresses of other places they want to visit, refine their search by things such as dietary requirements, whether that be halal, vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, and even apply filters to find out things such as wheelchair access or outdoor seating due to COVID-19 rules. Black Eats London launched in August 2020, and our first client was Uber in September the following month. In December 2020, lockdown resumed and we had to pivot our content creation from restaurants to takeaways, street food spots, etc. In April 2021, we created a post which highlighted restaurants which had outdoor dining when lockdown rules were eased. This post went viral and we received over 10,000 followers in the space of a week on Instagram. Due to us pivoting our content and focusing on street food spots, we developed the information to actually gather a list of traders to launch our own events in May 2021 under Essential Shopping. In September of 2021, we actually curated our first festival food trader lineup at City Splash in Beckenham Park. Shortly after that, we were awarded the 30 Under 30 by Guap Magazine and Adidas. Black History Month last year was an extremely busy period. We delivered Uber Eats Black History Month campaign featuring 10 different Black-owned restaurants across London. In October, we also launched our guides on Apple Maps, which saw hundreds of thousands of users reading our guide of Black-owned restaurants to visit across London. In December, we ended our 7-month sprint of events and were awarded a small business grant by Bumble for providing safe spaces for Black dating. Working in various data agencies across London has taught me various things in the CRM and loyalty world. Whether it be travel, retail, hospitality, or even charities, this has helped grow my skill set in various different ways. I have a diverse team including people such as writers, photographers, videographers, graphics designers, content creation partners, as well as our events partner, Free From Sleep, our advertising partner, Pack London, and a network of 100 plus caterers and a network of 400 plus event traders who we utilize for our events which we run in Hackney, as well as festivals and corporate bookings. In 2021, we had 26 days of events which saw 174 Black-owned businesses, 90,000 plus visitors, hundreds of thousands of pounds spent with these businesses, and hundreds of thousands of monthly online impressions through our social media and website platform. Our services include the likes of diversity consultancy, advertising and PR, campaign execution, corporate workshops, event creation and consultancy, event catering, food photography and videography, content creation, and social media consultancy. Some of our recent and current clients who have hired us for these services mentioned include the likes of Square, Uber, Havana Club, and Sony Music.
Thanks for your time, and thanks for putting your money where your mouth is.
Thank you very much, Jackson. Winnie, if I start with you, I can see your hand up. So if I start with you first, please.
Thank you, Liz. And thank you, Jackson. That was a great video to watch. I think it's been great to see how you've pivoted in the last kind of year and a bit of kind of being around. I love that you've really thought about the direction of your organization and how you try and pivot with the demand you've seen. So that's really good to see. I guess my question is around scale. You know, you're called Black East London, and London is very much integrated in your brand. And it's not by any means a small market. I think it's a huge opportunity. But where do you see this going in the next 5 years, and what markets do you want to grow into?
I think the London market is huge if you look at in terms of Black-owned restaurant ownership. So in London, we have probably 95% of our directory base. We also cover kind of Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, Bristol, those kind of major cities. But 95% of our directory is kind of London-based. We do offer services for catering UK-wide, but predominantly the biggest audience is in London. The biggest amount of restaurants are in London, and the market in London is so great that the rest of the UK is kind of a secondary thought at the moment, especially as the actual restaurant's presence is so low outside of the city.
Thanks, Winnie. If I come to you, Barbara, please.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. I'd like to know, how do you make money?
So we make money through our events, which we ran 26 last year. We've got various festivals, which are kind of collaborating on this year, as well as further events. And also consultancy. So for example, the data that we have on our platform in terms of Black-owned restaurant ownership, nobody else in the UK has this information. So when it comes to businesses like Uber Eats, they have to come to us because it's not data that they collect. So when we're able to kind of consult for hospitality businesses, we're the only people with that data, so we can connect them with restaurants, with kind of all of these different spots and kind of provide that middleman service. And as we've kind of gone out physically to these places and created those relationships, we're able to kind of connect people with business owners in a way that they feel comfortable.
Perfect, thank you.
Thanks, Barbara. And if we take the final question from you, Nick, please.
Yeah, I think fantastic. It's a fantastic campaign. There's a long list of services that you offer on one of the slides. Is everything focused? Does everything basically have a common theme of Black-owned hospitality? Is that the one common thread between? Because there are a whole load of services that you talk about. But is everything themed around basically restaurants and food?
Yeah, essentially, majority of it is kind of scaled around the food thing. What I've also kind of done, I've given talks on kind of event management as well. So I went into Westminster Academy School just a couple of weeks ago to talk to kids about running events. So there's various different skills that kind of enable me to run the platform, which I also then kind of go into establishments to kind of give talks on that and kind of inspire the younger generation as well.
Yeah. So it's much wider. It's much wider that the Black East London, effectively, that is just one aspect of what you're doing.
Correct. Yeah. So it's kind of anything food, whether it be kind of social media, whether it be photography, whether it be kind of consultancy on the kind of more corporate side, whether it's event catering, it's all kind of surrounding these Black-owned restaurant businesses.
Thank you, Jackson. Thank you very much. I'll pass over to Indy to introduce the next business.
Thank you. So I would love to introduce Pollen Pay. Pollen Pay is a buy now, pay later platform that allows the users more financial flexibility on repaying purchases that they have made via the platform. So I would love to introduce you all to Leon, founder of Pollen Pay.
Hi, I'm Leon Wilson, one of the founders of Pollen Pay. I came up with the idea of Pollen Pay over 4 years ago, and Pollen Pay was always designed to be all things payment and financial related. One of the areas, or verticals as we call it, was in the buy now pay later space, and this is one that we look to capitalise on in the UK market, based right here in the northwest in Manchester. Pollen Pay aims, or our primary focus is aiming on flexibility for both customers and merchants. And this is what we believe will set us apart in the UK market. Let me play you a short video to explain a little bit more in detail around our products offering for our merchants and our customers.
Pollen Pay is a buy now, pay later platform that allows customers to buy products or services when they need them and simply repay back over time. Pollen Pay is focused on our customers and merchants, meaning we allow our customers to repay an item over 4 or soon to be more repayments. And you can even choose the amount you want to repay after your initial payment, as long as it's within the timeline, of course. We are even working on making this more flexible too. All this with no hidden fees or charges. We are completely transparent and open. It's simple, so don't delay. Get on board with Pollen Pay today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Let's kick off with Barbara.
Thank you. Interesting presentation. What I wanted to know was, I think there've just been a lot in the media in terms of people getting into rising debts because of these, buy now, pay later schemes. So I just wanted to know in terms of interest rates and repayments, how does that work? You said no hidden fees, but are there extortionate interest charges?
Yeah, I think firstly, there's a big misconception, I think, in terms of what the buy now, pay later space is. But essentially, without going into too much detail, Pollen Pay as a service has no interest to its customers. Our business model is predominantly focused on merchant fees. So the only amount a customer could get into potential debt with Pollen Pay services would be a maximum of capped £10.
Okay, perfect. Can I add a follow-on? Actually, no, everyone else has a question, so I'll wait until everyone asks their question.
Thank you. Winnie, you're next.
Just a quick question around how you plan to, I guess, get your share of the market, because we know there are lots of players in this space, and if your main income stream is merchant, fees, getting those customers will be so important. So I'd love to hear around your marketing strategy.
Yeah, sure. So, essentially, everyone knows about Klarna these days. So essentially, Pollen Pay can do everything that Klarna can do from an online perspective. However, we noticed a unique opportunity or a point or a niche in the market in sort of 4 verticals, whether this be automotive, dental, optical. And one area that we're focusing on right now is aesthetics. So the typical cart size for an online shopper is about £50 to £70, whereas in the aesthetics industry, we've noticed that it's about £150 to £200, depending on location. And obviously, this is the industry alone in the UK is worth around about 10 billion. Last week, we did a live test with 4 merchants and was able to put £7,000 worth of volume through in 2 days. We've currently onboarded 400 merchants. So we actually go live on Monday. So we're going to go live with a very small beta of 40 merchants with 4 customers each, obviously with an average cart size of 150 pounds. So, you know, within our first 4 weeks, we're probably going to be north of £100,000 in volume. And we're capping that. You know, we've got access straight away to over 500 merchants on the platform. So, you know, we sort of we're moving a little bit slow, just in line with what funding we have available at this minute.
Wonderful, thank you, Nick.
Do I take it that it's the merchant who takes the credit risk of the customer as opposed to you?
No, PollenPay. So we basically took on a small round of investment in September. So it was an £800,000 raise with a £20 million debt facility. So essentially, PollenPay is liable for the customer's debt.
Okay, but right, you're only making your money from the merchant fees.
That's right. So depending on what vertical, so, you know, if we focus on aesthetics, you know, there's like a 5% merchant fee.
But you have recourse to the customer. If the customer doesn't pay, then you have to go to the customer in the end to get paid.
That's correct. Yeah.
And then interest would accrue at that point.
No. So, and I suppose this is where I go into sort of the misconception. So in the buy now pay later space, there's only sort of a 2 to 6% default rate compared to a 30% default rate in credit card services.
No. Oh, that's low.
Yeah, it's what we've noticed is, you know, the trend and the shift in terms of you know, in terms of credit card debt, you know, the average household is sitting at around £17,000, but with the shift of millennials moving into the buy now pay later space and using these services, we've actually noticed an improvement of cash management. So essentially, the buy now pay later is giving the millennials, you know, a better cash management tool to use, and that's why obviously the shift away from credit card and traditional finances, you know, is sort of on the demise, especially throughout the UK and the US.
Wonderful, thank you. Barbara, I know you had a final question. Would you like to ask it?
No, Winnie already asked, so it's fine.
Beautiful, thank you so much. I am now going to hand back over to Liz.
Thank you, Indy. Before we watch the next page, we're going to show our last video on Members Moment. So I'm pleased to introduce you to Kufa, who is the founder of MindPalm, an early career platform which uses data science to connect, match, and recruit, develop early career talent fairer, impartially, and cost-effective, to tell us their experience on the program. Thank you.
And I think the big one is about being that responsible role model, because for us, I think, you know, when I look at everybody on this program and I look at my role as a Black entrepreneur, and one of the things I believe in, that, you know, you can only be what you can see. And when you look at our landscape, you know, it's important for us as a cohort, us as Black entrepreneurs, to not only scale our businesses so that the next generation can see how it's done, but also by scaling and exiting our businesses, we then go back and reinvest in those businesses, and then we really start to make that change. But in order for you to achieve those things, you have to be all the things that kind of Harvey mentioned. So to me, I wrote that down in my journal, and it's something that I look at every day and go, you know, am I being a responsible founder?
That's great. Thank you. Thank you very much. So now we're going to continue with the pitches. We've got just a couple of so left. The next business we're going to hear from is Bomadoo. It's a neo banking platform aiming to help young people overcome the first home deposit saving challenge. So now let's hear from Abi, founder of Bomadoo.
Hi, my name is Abi Elohim. I'm the CEO and the co-founder of Bank of Mom and Dad United, Bomadoo. Bomadoo enables young people to buy their first home with fully funded home deposit finance. Our mission is to become the Bank of Mom and Dad for those less fortunate to have parental support. Raising a deposit remains the biggest challenge for first-time buyers. For many young people, it has almost become impossible to fulfill their home ownership dream. This is the problem we are trying to solve. Here is how it works. First-time buyers open an account to save money with Bomadoo. Bomadoo invests in first-time buyers by paying their mortgage deposit. First-time buyer lives in the house and focus on paying their mortgage, not Bomadoo. First-time buyer may then choose to sell, refinance, or use their accrued savings to pay down the deposit provided by Bomadou. The opportunity is huge. Mortgage deposit assistance provided by family members in the UK is valued at over £5 billion a year. We intend to capture 14% of this market by 2027. There is a clear market demand for home deposit finance. According to our data, 70% of first-time buyers will be interested in deposit loan finance. 83% find saving for a deposit the biggest challenge, and 91% will actually use their savings as it for the deposit. Here is our business model. We secure our lending portfolio from institutional investors, which we then lend on to first-time buyers. First-time buyers then pays us back at a fixed rate. There's a clear gap in the financial market. Bomadou will be the only way for young people to buy a first home with fully funded deposits offering. Our go-to-market strategy is a direct marketing approach to first-time buyers, and we also intend to use social influencer marketing for launch. Our traction today, we have developed our core banking engine, which will enable us to offer current account to first-time buyers. We are FCA registered. We are over 1,000 pre-signups. We are SCIs and EIs eligible, and we've received part of our investment commitments. Here is our core team member, including our investors and advisors, many of whom are from banking industry. We are passionate about our business, and we invite any interested investor to get in touch to discuss the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Abi. Barbara, I can see your hand up first, so if I come to you.
Yes, this is great and an issue that's very dear to my heart. One thing I'd love to know is, what is your eligibility criteria? Can anyone approach Bomadou for assistance?
Yes, we do have, thanks for the question, by the way. Yes, we do have quite lengthy eligibility criteria, which literally the main point is they've got to be mortgage worthy, they've got to have good credit, they've got to kind of show a bit of previous financial commitment of that size that they will be able to carry on meeting our criteria to be able to then lend them the deposit that they need to buy their first home. So we do have quite a number of eligibility criteria that first-time buyers will need to fulfill before we lend them the deposit.
Thank you, Barbara. Winnie, I saw your hand up.
Yeah, just a quick question from me. Most of the time, individuals can't get deposit loans from a kind of conventional bank because it impacts their mortgage eligibility, and not all banks offer, I guess, mortgages to people who've used loans to bridge their deposit gap. So I'd love to find out around what parameters have you put in place to limit those restrictions for your end users?
Good question. Thank you. So what makes our lending quite different to traditional lenders to be able to then get mortgages, because we are actually not considered as a core initial loan. The mortgage lenders we have to consider, because there is a deferment in the repayment for our loan that we offer to first-time buyers, which means that's not taken into consideration when applying for income loan to ratio for the first-time buyer. So that way we are not, and again, we work with mortgage lender really with regards to the criteria and also requirement to ensure that each first-time buyer or every customer actually can be assessed based on the criteria and then also the profile that we are bringing to mortgage lender. So that's.
Thank you, Winnie. Finally, if I come to you, Nick, please.
I love the name, but I presume that these are loans that are guaranteed by parents or family members. Is that right?
Thank you. Actually, we lend them not guaranteed by mom and dad. We are the newborn mom and dad, to put it that way. So it's not that parents have to guarantee. So the traditional approach or the traditional bank of mom and dad were the one that the mom and dad we have to guarantee. Now we are the guarantor.
So it's not guaranteed. So the only security that you have, what's security?
Second charge. We have second charge on the property. Right, okay. That's correct. Okay. And there are also other mechanisms that we also put in place to ensure that it's secured, it's safe, and it's not literally risky for both for such lender as well as for the customers, including the business.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Abi. I'll pass over to Indy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next business is Educate. So Educate is a digital platform that prepares students for the world of work with the skills needed for the workplace of the future. I would really love to introduce you all to Richard.
Founded by entrepreneurs Richard and Burkhan, Educate is a digital platform that prepares students with the skills they need for the future world of work. In 2013, Richard and Burkhan founded a charity called PUSH, which means persevere until something happens. For over 10 years across 9 countries, Burkhan and Richard have traveled the world, delivering workshops and mentoring programs with teams of leading industry experts to upskill students no matter their background, environment, or learning abilities. Then, COVID happened. Struggling to travel, Richard and Burkhan had to resort to virtual sessions via Zoom, but were unable to engage with students in the same way as before. Perplexed with this new reality, they began doing research and realized that the education system across the globe had a very big problem. Reports from the World Economic Forum have shown that the world of work skills gap is rising fast, and schools are the last to be informed of the new skills needed. That means that schools aren't equipped with the tools and resources to ensure students are accurately prepared for working in this rapidly changing environment. Research from McKinsey shows 85 million jobs may be redundant by 2025, and 97 million new roles will emerge. Digital and AI technologies are transforming the world of work. Research also shows that students need to be developed in 4 core areas to successfully transition from school to the world of work. The areas of development are interpersonal skills, digital literacy, cognitive abilities, and self-leadership. That's where Educate comes in. Educate aims to be the first edtech company to develop students in the 4 core competencies through gaming and AR with a focus on entrepreneurship and investment management. This method of learning in the context of entrepreneurship and investment management will be the first of its kind. In the last year, Educate has curated customized virtual work experiences using proprietary digital content to give students a taste of the real world. Schools currently engage in Educate programs via a digital platform on an annual subscription basis. Students currently enrolled are part of an 8-week program with Puma, focused on sustainable fashion. The program that follows will be on investment management with Fab Bank, the largest bank in Abu Dhabi, and GWAP, a Swiss-based robo-advisory app. There are over 500 students and 8 schools subscribed to Educate's platform across the UAE. So what's next? Educate aims to upskill 10 million students in the next 5 years, starting with a goal of 100 schools across the UAE and UK by 2024. Educate will provide an opportunity for corporations to identify and source top talent and market their businesses to students across the globe. The journey that Richard and Burkhan embarked on 10 years ago has grown into a mission to break the limits of education. Education plus gaming equals infinite possibilities.
Wonderful, thank you. Judges, who would like to go first? Barbara.
I just want to say I really love this. Just the way that you're using gamification, also the focus on entrepreneurship, and I'm guessing that involves financial management as well. What I would love to know is, in terms of making money, how do you generate revenue?
Yes, sorry there. Yeah, so we actually deliver a subscription-based model. Schools pay subscription-based, have license to distribute the technology across the school. So we charge £300 a month per license.
Okay, so it's not sort of local authorities. You mentioned 8 schools in the UAE. I thought there was a sort of government kind of provision in that way, but no, you approach the individual schools.
So it's both B2G, B2B and B2G. So we are looking at the Ministry of Education in the UK and the Ministry of Education in UAE with partnerships where the license is distributed across all schools, but we also do B2B. So it is 2 schools directly as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Wonderful. Winnie, you had a question?
Yes, no, I think this is a brilliant proposition. I guess my question is around scale. So there are kind of a few core subjects, a few core markets, and then, you know, your approach with schools as well. Where do you see this going and how do you plan to scale?
Sure, Bergen.
Thank you for your question, Winnie. Basically, we've started in the UAE due to our extensive network from transitioning from the charity to the for-profit business. We have the same really reliable network that we've built over the last 10 years together. So right now, we want to conquer the UAE and transition into the UK market, as the UK market is still seen as the gold standard in education. So it's definitely very important for us to move there. After that, the world's our oyster, because we're seeing the student uptake in a big way now from the 8 schools we're working with. So I think, you know, the 10 million students in 5 years it might sound aggressive, but it's a very doable goal.
Great, thank you. And finally, Nick.
Yeah, I love what you're aiming to do here, but one of the big issues I can see with the UK is you've got 14,000 primary schools, 4,000 secondary schools. They all do their own buying individually. You can't sell to the DFE. That's one of the biggest challenges in UK edtech. How can I mean, Wales is different. That you can sell to the Department of Education of Wales, but in England it's all by school by school, and that's very, very expensive. How are you going to overcome that?
Yeah, so with the new T levels that have been announced, which is really trying to offer an alternative to students to access the world of work through the new qualification, we feel that there is an opportunity to collaborate with corporates, as we're doing already, to utilize our technology in schools as well. And we found as well with providing partnerships with corporates is a massive gap that schools are trying to fill. So it's another way of being able to attract attention to our value proposition. With the education system in the UK, agreed with you that you can't go, provide military education for the whole country, but going by borough to borough or regionally, that is something that's feasible. So it's definitely an opportunity for us still.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm going to have to call time, but thank you so much for joining us. Liz, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks, Indy. Next business we're going to hear from is AfroClick. AfroClick represents a convenient one-stop shop offering the widest range of African and Caribbean products and services. So let's hear from Emmanuel, founder of AfroClick.
There are times we just can't make it to the African Caribbean shop. Either it's too far, we don't drive, or we just don't have the time. But we desire our plantain, yam, gari, cassava, amongst other ingredients. There are other times as well where we crave for our favorite authentic African Caribbean cuisines and can't be bothered spending hours browsing the platforms that put other cuisines ahead of ours or simply can't deliver to us because of distance. And there are occasions where we travel long distances to other towns and cities we are not familiar with but still want to enjoy our favorite African Caribbean cuisines or buy the necessary groceries to cook with. We understand your pain and frustrations, and that's why we present to you AfroClick. AfroClick is an on-demand delivery platform for African Caribbean takeaway, groceries, and products. Here's how it works. As a customer, create an account, review products of various African Caribbean vendors up to 60 miles, order for delivery or pickup. As a vendor, create an account for your online shop on AfroClick, upload your menu and products, receive and process orders, get access to sales data, trends, payouts, and more. And as a rider, sign up as a driver, receive and complete deliveries, and get access to payout information and data. We offer competitive prices of food and products compared to other platforms, a wide range of authentic African Caribbean food and products, a one-stop shop for all your African Caribbean cuisines, groceries, and product needs, with delivery up to a 60-mile radius. So what's in it for AfroClick? 20% commission on gross order value, sponsored advertisements, delivery service only for vendors and users. We've experienced encouraging organic growth over the last 60 months, with over 1,500 Android and iOS app downloads, over 980 total users, over 90 total vendors, with over 170 drivers, and over 1,400 completed orders. And meet the brains behind the vision, Emmanuel, CEO and co-founder, Peter, B1 developer and co-founder, John, strategic human resources and change management, Musaga, distribution, warehouse and planning operations management, Elias, new product introduction and quality manager. Our objective now is to improve our platforms and operational structure, invest in marketing, and roll out AfroClick services across the UK. AfroClick. Choose convenience.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you. Winnie, I saw your hand up first, so if you go first, please.
No, I think this is such a great offering. I loved when it said at the beginning of the video, we feel your pain. It is a pain. So I think it's a great product. There aren't actually a lot of competitors in the market as well. So I think you've got so much potential. I guess my question is, I just wanted to clarify, because you talked about the number of downloads, number of people engaged, etc. Are these deliveries and the logistics side of it owned by the businesses that individuals are purchasing from? Or are you as a business getting involved in the logistics side of it as well?
Thank you, Winnie, for your question. AfroClick handles the logistics of all the orders. So as a vendor, all you do is sign up to AfroClick, and then when there is an order, you get the order ready, and then our drivers can pick up and go and deliver to the customer.
Okay. Thank you. If we come to you next, please, Nick.
Yeah, I think I was sort of following on from that, which was in the experience, there's a lot of warehousing experience, and yet it looks as though what you have is a platform, which is a platform which doesn't involve you having to store anything at all, which makes perfect sense. I mean, it's what Get Here and Gorilla and everyone else does. It's just for a very specific range of products, which is what the internet was designed for. It's a perfect solution. So this is just basically a platform. And are your drivers employed drivers, or is it similarly just a platform where drivers who otherwise might be working for Deliveroo and Get Here and everyone else can just simply access the app and think, yep, I'll do that job?
Yes, exactly. So anyone at all can do delivery, individual. So all you need to do is just create an account on AfroClick by downloading our driver app. And then anytime you are free, you just accept an order, go and do the job, and then we pay you. So yeah, Nick, if you want to have a go, come.
Yeah, I'll be on my bike. Yeah. But not more than 60 miles.
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
And if we take the final question from you, Barbara.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. I can imagine a lot of people outside of cities wanting to use your product. I was just wondering, a 60-mile radius is quite a huge, area to cover. Is there a minimum order value that people need to pay in order for them to use the platform?
So there is no minimum order value, but what our system does is that depending on your order value, your delivery charge gets adjusted accordingly.
Okay.
So we charge per mile. So the further you are away, the more delivery charge you pay. But the vision or the whole idea is that if we have vendors across the whole of UK, and then maybe on average every 2-3 miles, we have vendors within that location, you wouldn't have to shop that far. So that's the whole idea.
Understood. Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much, judges. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you very much. So, Indy, I pass over to you.
Thank you. So I would love to introduce you all to Full Spectrum. Full Spectrum provides innovative digital solutions that revolutionize the way we holistically access education, health, and social care services, particularly with children and young adults. So, Full Spectrum, the floor is yours.
So Full Spectrum is the most impactful solution in the market that works on not just the child and family, but for every single member and stakeholder within the ecosystem of SEND.
We're not a technology company. We are focused on the educational needs of young people. We're focused on the problem and we're using technology to solve it.
We're thinking about the solutions because we understand the pain points of everybody that we're working with.
That's not just including the family, that is the local authority, it's the school, it's the clinics and hospitals that work in association. The plethora of different support mechanisms that should be wrapped around and directed towards the child's individual and unfolding needs.
There's not a solution like this that exists. The use of artificial intelligence and data and system integration is real innovation.
And knowing what it sounds like on the ground, we're now starting to combine what we know that tech can do so that actually it can serve the community better.
And so what Full Spectrum does is it starts by helping all of that information, all of that assessment come together into a more coherent plan that you can then match against impact.
Full Spectrum is about cultural change. It's not about us, it's about we and the impact that we want to make.
What Full Spectrum is about is being proactive, is leading with the solution and is creating a curriculum that helps each individual with an individualized learning style.
If you're able to learn how your mind works and you're able to actually tap into that and have some learning that is key to you as an individual, and we can actually create better outcomes for individuals, which benefits the whole of society anyway.
We want to give empowerment to the child to become better and learn better. We want to empower the parent to have the information.
Our main focus is to enable all to achieve.
The personalised way of education or learning that we're developing essentially means that each child will be able to learn at their pace.
Having Full Spectrum be able to identify their needs in their early years to support them throughout their growth is just invaluable.
My partner is involved as a head teacher in a special needs school, and she is trying to deliver those outcomes for those young people. And it's very clear to me that Full Spectrum will make her job easier.
These are the people that underpin society, and yet they don't have the information, they don't have the resources that they need to be the most efficient in what they do.
Being neurodivergent myself, I wanted to really focus on bringing together a meaningful solution, but also as an opportunity to really bring true value and equity and equality within the education, health and care systems.
An important part of someone's development, i.e. their confidence, actually a lot of it comes from education.
We need to work with local authorities, we need to work with schools, we need to work with parents. We need to work with anybody that is going to support that young person to deliver the outcomes that they need and deserve.
It's time to reform the SEND system. It's time to reform our care system and to ensure that this new system that we can bring together in partnership provides the equity, the inclusivity, the sustainability, and most importantly, that impact that we all deserve and need to actually thrive within the 21st century.
Amazing, thank you. We are going to kick off with Winnie.
Thank you. I think it's just so inspirational to see the ethos behind the business, and that really shines through watching the video. I'd love to hear more about the product though, because I felt like that was probably what was missing from the video. Could you please share a really quick overview around what the kind of end users are actually receiving and what benefit it gives to all of the different, I guess, roles that you highlighted that have a part to play in the child's development?
Hi there. Sorry for the delay. I'm just trying to mute myself there. So, yeah, we purposely wanted to put together this feature to not really focus on the products that's still in development, but to explain what the product is and what the offering is. It's effectively the access to a data-driven ecosystem of personalized learning development. And where that starts and what is required is us to work with local authorities, schools, clinics to digitally transform the current service into what will start off to be a managed information system that takes all information from different sources and uses AI to help care workers, agencies to build plans, personalized plans for education or for care based on that information itself, and to really streamline how, you know, various different teachers, parents, care workers actually coordinate and report their findings of the child. So it becomes more instinctive.
Wonderful, thank you. Nick.
So I'm a governor in a number of schools in South London, and inclusion in education is one of the things that we spend a lot of our time talking about. So, so how do you work with the school? Is the school funding part of that as part of their? Do they use part of their budget, their SEND budget, to cover it? And effectively, are you prescribing things that teachers can do in order to find better ways of teaching children with educational needs?
Thanks for the question, Nick. That's a remarkable one. And sure answer, yes. So we have a very strategic way in terms of how to roll out this solution across the entire SEND ecosystem, starting with the local authorities where they'll subscribe for our services and also pay for the platform through a SaaS-based subscription fee. Once we've actually built the system for local authority, because they underpin mainstream schools and the care provision providers as being that, you know, legal entity to provide this care and provide the budgets, what you find is that the high needs block or the SEND budgets that go to schools itself, there's a partition of that they can actually procure tools to help improve SEND outcomes. But then also, because of post-COVID-19, digital transformation is something that's been heavily focused on improving the sector. And so you'll find that there's going to be further funding from a DFE that's rolled out to all organizations in that sector to move things forward.
Great, thanks.
Wonderful. Judges, do we have any more questions? Great. Thank you so much, Liz. I'm going to hand back to you.
Thank you, indeed. So last but by no means the least, the pitch we're going to listen to is my Afro-Caribbean wedding. Afro-Caribbean wedding is changing the way Black and multicultural communities plan their events and weddings. Their platform offers a suite of collaborative planning tools for events and weddings. Let's hear from Ola, founder of my Afro-Caribbean wedding.
My Afro-Caribbean wedding started with the idea that there was an easier way for the Black community to get matched with event pros that cater for multicultural weddings, that both can collaborate easily by having all of the wedding planning and client management tools they need, all in one single platform. With everything from lead management, meeting scheduling to quotes, contract agreements to payments, booking tools to checklists, day of timelines and a guest manager. Black multicultural couples go through a wide range of websites to organize their big day, but can't simply find all the required resources and services that caters for their culture. Event businesses and clients tend to use different platforms to collaborate, plan their events, issue contracts, accept payments, and manage their businesses, leading to a fragmented process for event vendors and clients. Meet Drake and Izzy. Drake, who is mixed African Caribbean, has been dating Izzy of Ghanaian heritage for about 3 years. He surprises her with a beautiful proposal. They now need to plan their wedding and hire trustworthy wedding vendors that can provide the relevant services they require for both their traditional and white wedding. Drake and Izzy will need to find an African Caribbean caterer, Afrobeat dancehall DJ, a fashion designer to make their traditional outfits. Izzy will need to find a bridal hairstylist and a makeup artist for her hair texture and skin tone. They both searched existing online wedding platforms but were disappointed. They could not find the category of vendors listed on these sites for their wedding planning needs. Just in time, they ran into Ade and Shax, a family friend who just got married, who told them about the experience with using my Afro-Caribbean wedding planning tools. You can use their suite of wedding planning tools to help plan and organize your wedding. You can create a wedding website, manage your wedding budget, manage checklists, guest lists, RSVP and thank you notes, virtual live streaming of your best wedding moments, and plan a honeymoon. My Afro-Caribbean wedding has a solution for every stage of life's greatest adventure. The platform also provides one centralized online location for couples' gift registry and experiences, with an option to ask guests for cash to go towards your honeymoon or other big expenses. It also cuts shopping time for wedding guests. My Afro-Caribbean Wedding suite of online tools saves time and makes the process of wedding planning fun and easier for Black multicultural couples. We launched the MVP Beta version 1 in 2019, Beta version 2 in 2020, planning to launch the minimum marketable product, a new redesigned web app and mobile app, in Q2 of 2022. Since its inception in 2018, we now have over 800 registered site users, over 250 registered vendors, and over 350k followers on our social media channels. Awarded BYP Innovator of the Year, and featured in TechRound's Top 50 BAME Entrepreneurs of 2021. Our business currently focuses on Black multicultural couples in the UK and US. We will expand our customer reach slowly to other regions with a high population of the Black community every 6 months to 1 year. Canada, the Caribbean, and Africa. In 2025, we aim to rebrand and expand the offering to all ethnicities. Founder Ola Suleiman acts as CEO and CTO with 12 years worth of experience creating business tech digital products with Walt Disney, McLaren, and Seadrill. Co-founder and COO Mahalia Jessup, with extensive experience as a wedding planner who has managed millions of dollars as an account sales executive with GlaxoSmithKline, Smith & Nephew, and the US Ministry of Defense. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ola. Thank you. That's great. So judges, who would like to go first? Barbara, if I come to you then. Thanks.
Yes, the question I've been asking throughout the day. I'd love to hear more about your revenue model.
Ola, oh, good.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. So we have 3 different types of revenue models, online advertising and subscription as well. So the vendors have different types of subscriptions. So the starter, and then we have the standard and then the premium as well. So the starter is free at the moment, so it's premium, and then the standard and then the premium as well. And then finally, we also have the gift registry as well, which is going to come into our MMP product. So we'll be charging 15% commission on the from the suppliers selling the products on there.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thanks. And Nick, if I come to you, please. Thank you.
Another question about the hook that's going to keep someone in the process all the way through, so that you know that these couples haven't merely just gone on, looked at all the good suppliers, got in contact with them, and then organised their wedding. So presumably through you had a table planner and various other tools, so you have a pretty good idea of whether your couples are using this all the way through the process. Is that right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And that the 500 couples that you referred to, are there 500 people who are organising 500 weddings through the business so far?
Yeah, so at the moment we have about 800 have used the platform. So they go through all the process. There's no way to at the moment to track it because it's just the MVP product at the moment. But when we launch our MMP, we'll look to bring that in there.
So, for example, how many people would have used the table? If you look at the table planner, they definitely would have. They would have followed the process all the way through because they've actually told you who their guests are. Have you had any people?
So we don't have.
Yet?
So on the MVP, we don't have the table seat management yet, so it's limited. Yeah. But when we launch the MMP, that's when we have the full suite of tools. So on the MVP at the moment, we have the guest list, we have the checklist, we have the budget calculator, and then we have the wedding website as well. But when we launch our MMP, we'll have all those suites of full tools there.
Thank you, Nick. And Winnie, if I come to you finally then.
Yeah, just a quick one from me. I'm mindful that right at the end of the video talked about rebranding and opening up to a broader market, which I found interesting because a lot of the USP is centered around this very specific market. So I'd love to hear around what your plans are, and continue to cater for the market that's your current target market, but equally make it relevant enough for people that you've not been targeting up until that point?
Yes, so the idea about that is currently at the moment as well, we're trying to solve two problems. So the second problem, no one is solving that problem yet, which is the fragmented tools. On existing platforms, people are still using different platforms to schedule their calls, to issue contracts, to take payments, and all of that. So our idea is we'll take up these other markets first, which is the Black community in Africa and the other countries, and then rebrand, having a product that's owned by Afro-Caribbean Wedding. But while we're doing all that, while we're capturing all the data as well, because part of these, the technology around it is also data analytics as well. So we'll have tags on each of those, each of the businesses registering. So if it's a Black-owned business, it will be tagged Black-owned business. So that's how, you know, when the new product, when a couple comes in, they'll answer a few questions. So those questions will be tailored based on the requirements, and also tailored based on the vendor's questions which have been answered. So we'll do an automatic matching to the perfect vendors they're looking for.
Thank you. Thank you, Winnie.
Thank you.
Thank you, judges. Thank you very much. We're almost nearing the end of the demo now. So I am going to call back my colleague, Natalie, for the next stage.
Thank you, Liz. And honestly, guys, to all 16 that have just demoed and showcased, you've done fantastically. So I know how nervous you was, because I was nervous as well. So honestly, give yourself a massive round of applause and a pat on the back for showcasing and asking some really tough questions by our judges. Whilst the guys are collating up the votes, so you would have seen whilst everyone was demoing and pitching, you would have had polls coming up where you was voting for kind of the best kind of pitch. So while our team in Foundervine are collating that up, we're going to share with you a campaign that was created off of the first program that we set up last year. So it highlights celebrating Black futures, and you'll hear from founders like Naima, founder of Ownership, Ashley, founder of Nandi Nicole, David, founder of Swader, and Michael, founder of Send It Money. And then once we finish the video, we will be passing on to the amazing Indy to open up for the People's Choice Awards by Foundervine. But for now, let's play the Black Futures campaign, please.
The motivating factor in starting my company has been frustration throughout my entire life.
I felt like I was not good enough, that I was inferior.
I get frustrated because sometimes I do wish I could have a bit more anonymity. It's the first thing that people see when I'm walking into a room. It's the fact that I'm Black and a woman.
There is a lot of problem that needs to be solved in our community. It's that frustration that led to thinking, you know what, I'm going to build a solution to solve this problem.
My name is Ashley Nicole Broderick. My company, Nandi Nicole, is an e-commerce business selling hair and skin products. It was born out of necessity and a lack of access. Finding those products is usually very scattered. We have to sort of procure those items in the shadows.
My name is David Thompson. My company is called Swader, and Swader is the Roman goddess of persuasion. And in my life, what I found was learning how to be persuasive and influential was one of the most important skills I've ever learned. Because I'm dyslexic, I need to make it so easy that people can remember things that I created some technology to teach persuasion and influence.
I'm Naima. I'm the CEO and founder of Ownership. We're building an app for founders and collaborators to come together and share their ownership simply. You'd be able to log your hours and our app would calculate who owns what. I realized that intersection of tech and creative industry was the most exciting thing, and that's where I first started thinking that I could be part of this world.
My name is Michael Owal. I'm the founder and the CEO of Send It Money. We're building a platform to connect underrepresented communities across the world to the global financial economy. what led to starting the company. First was sending money back to my mother in Nigeria, and I just couldn't believe how hard it was. I started frustration that led to why is no one solving this problem.
In the UK, 0.02% of investment goes to Black female-founded teams. Some of these areas where these deals are being made are inaccessible to you. There are still so many barriers to even getting through the door.
Being yourself in the workplace is often seen as a point of protest. Showing up is a matter of being this alternate self out of a sense of survival.
It all comes down to identity, and that identity has been attached to survival. But now as the world begins to see more successes, what will happen is that identity will change from that place of survivor to significance.
At 21, I was given a book that changed the course of my life, learning about incorporating the plus traits of life. And that's where you start realizing that you bet on yourself, knowing what it was to take somebody else on and then come out on top.
I see entrepreneurship as a way to right a lot of wrongs in the world. It's a clean template where anyone can aspire and dream. It's about changing those narratives.
Having choices, having freedom.
Being ourselves and owning ourselves.
Not being repressed, not being constrained.
Wanting to leave your mark and make an impact.
Understanding that beautiful resides in how you show up.
Our generation has enough gumption to pull people together and make things different.
The future is one where it doesn't matter what background you're from. You can think there is an opportunity here and I want to create something that can have impact on the world.
My grandmother incredibly wanted this opportunity to see me here now, building something for myself. I feel like I'm connecting with something that I didn't realize that I was missing.
I think now is the time when things are changing. So we need to learn from the past and then take actions and move forward together in the future and create magic from adversity.
We will inspire new generations of people to dream and to achieve their dream. It's the beginning of awakening for the entire world.
It's a missed opportunity not to fall in line with investing and understanding the multiculturalism of the Black community.
Brilliant, thank you so much. That video honestly just gives me goosebumps. So I'm sure it gives everyone else goosebumps that's on this video watching and really brings to life our founders' journeys. So with that, I'm going to pass over to Foundervine for the part that I know everyone's been waiting for. Indy, can I pass over to you, please, to introduce the People's Choice Award?
Absolutely. Before I introduce the winner of the People's Choice Award, I just want to say thank you to all of our phenomenal founders who have joined us. As a whole cohort, for everyone who has pitched here today, it is not easy to stand in front of your peers and present something you've built from scratch, but I hope you know this is just the start of the support and offerings that both Foundervine and Barclays can offer you. So Foundervine put together this little award because we wanted to just say thank you to, and give something to someone and a group that have just, done an amazing job, not to say that you all haven't done one. So without further ado, the winner of the People's Choice Awards is Kasai. Let's have a round of applause. So congratulations to Flora and Michelle. We will be giving you a small token of appreciation of £500, and Foundervine will be in touch to explain how we'll get that to you. But once again, I want to say thank you to everyone who has joined us. Foundervine has so many different opportunities, our community offering for you all. So this isn't the end, this is just the start. And so we really, really appreciate you all. But congratulations on your little prize, guys. Nat, the floor is yours.
Beautiful. Congratulations again, Kasai. So firstly, I just want to say again, I can't alliterate it enough how blown away I've been by the presentations today. I just want to say to all the founders, you've really showcased and demystified that there isn't a lack of Black talent in entrepreneurship, in what you guys have created with your innovations and your softwares. So I'm honestly super excited to see what the next kind of journeys is for you. Like Indy said, you are connected in our Eagle Labs ecosystem and Foundervine, which I keep banging on about. But you know, that's what we're here to do, is to enhance entrepreneurs in the UK. I'm going to take this time, and I'm conscious we're running over time, so I won't take too long, but I'm going to take this time just to do a few thank yous. So I want to say thank you to all of our Barclays champions who have served as our Barclays colleagues who have served as champions over the last 12 weeks, providing mentoring sessions and providing each of our founders on their journey. Thank you for your commitment and your passion, and also for helping us to level the playing field. I also would lastly like to say thank you to the whole of the Foundervine team. Shax, Jen, you guys have been exceptional program managers, and the way you guys have put on an amazing showcase is really a testament to yourselves. It's been an honest, absolute pleasure working with Foundervine over the last 2.5 years, and it's honestly probably been the best highlight of my career. Don't hold me to that. So before we draw a close to our second edition of the Black Founders Accelerator, you know, we at Eagle Labs, if you know us, one of the things that we love is feedback. It helps us drive and know what we're doing best and what we can work on better for our next program. So please take your phone cameras out and scan the QR code. It only takes 2 minutes, but it means a wealth of information for us to help drive a better program for next year. So with that, I just wanted to say thank you all for joining us today and celebrating the journey of our 40 participants on our 2021 program. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And look, shout about it, share on LinkedIn, share on Twitter. We want to see as much buzz as possible for the 16 businesses that have demoed today. So with that, thank you very much for joining, and I will now put this event to a close.